I finally got a premium Zoom, so hopefully we won't have to come in and out. This is the
Yes,
first
correct.
time we're using it. We'll see. Looks like I see a lot of new folks here.
Yes, Doc, we have.
Norwena Bernal. Who is
And
V 2026? You may want to change your name if you want or not. V 2026. We would like to know who you are.
I'm sorry, Doc.
No problem.
Others must see us. I forgot.
There's Arvin. Arvin is new. Layla, thank you for coming back.
yes, Doc. Sir Arvin is new. He is one of our classmates in NU, taking masters of arts. Yeah, in education,
Well,
major in
welcome.
special education.
Nice. Hey, Mike, I wonder if you could change the screen where the person talking is the big one. Is that it change the grid?
Yes, Doc. It is on the gallery. The view option.
Okay. Well, you're the host, so I can't do anything.
Yes, Doc.
And Mike, thank you for the logo there in the corner. That's awesome.
The background.
Yes. Yes. I can't do this group now without Mike. He's been my right hand. So thank you.
Welcome, Doc.
So Juanito or John, how do you say that? John? Oh, Abby's here. Abby.
Yes, good evening. I'm so sorry.
Abby.
We're having a short vacation with my friends here, that's why.
Abby, is Leslie with you? Somebody's got some music on. You might want to mute right now, please.
Oh, I'm still in my pajamas.
Hey, Abby, is Leslie with you?
Oh, yes, ma'am. We are having breakfast. I'm still in my pajamas. I'm sorry.
For everyone, Leslie and Abby just moved to a new apartment, so I will help them there. And you've got a really cute one. It's now all looking so good.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, your husband is coming tomorrow. Did you ever find somebody to meet him?
Oh, that's my problem, ma'am.
Did you text your principal, because he has a house in Little Rock?
They already know it. They already know about it, ma'am.
But they never responded.
They were just asking, "Oh, your husband is coming." I said, "Yes, but and I don't have a ride, and maybe they'll find somebody." Oh, I don't know, ma'am.
Well, you might want to directly, you know how Filipinos, we are very indirect. Like we in the Philippines, we just kind of like let people
Get decipher.
But we indirectly, but here in America, you have to really ask. Like you need to say, Dr. Farr, is there a way that you could give my husband a ride tomorrow?
He's arriving on Monday.
Oh, Monday.
Yes, ma'am. And it's a school day, so that's why I can.
Oh, okay. Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was Sunday. Then if it's Monday, I can be there.
For
some reason, I have it Sunday. Yeah, I can do that.
Would be nice. That would be nice, ma'am. I truly appreciate it.
What time is he coming?
2 in the afternoon.
Okay. So how does that work? Are you taking off half a day?
Yes, ma'am. I would be.
So I'll go there and then pick you up and then pick him up, I guess.
Yes, ma'am. Oh,
okay. So, well, yeah.
I'd be so happy.
We'll do that then. But for some reason, I thought it was Sunday. Sunday is impossible for me. But yeah, Monday is fine because I have to work there Tuesday and Wednesday anyway.
Yes, ma'am.
Yay, I'm excited. She's going to have her husband here. So for everyone else, J1 visa is what, October 1, the J1 visa will be open again. So the J2 visa is what Abby used in order to get her husband here. But so you can actually, when you apply for your J1 visa, you can already apply for J2 visa for your husband. You just have to pay though, your sponsor. But the H1B visa, like Mike is gonna have, it's gonna be called H4 visa for the spouse. So Mike, if you want to include your wife, there's an H4 visa. You will, when yours is approved, then she can just kind of ride on yours. So if you want to do that, okay.
Yes,
along with the
Doc.
other three. Yeah. Oh, we have a lot of people today. Yay! I'm
Yes,
proud of
Doc.
that. I just want to see lots of pictures, though. It's nice to see
Yes.
pictures. So Mike, can you make it like? Did you ever find it where the person talking is under grid? Person talking will become big
Yes, Doc. Yes,
instead of
Doc.
us going.
Yes.
I think it's under
My
gallery.
view, I changed it to speaker view.
Yeah, but it's not doing it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where if I'm talking, for example, I'll be in the screen.
Yes, Doc. In
And
my store.
right now it's showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 by 4, 16 screens at one time. Okay, well, Mike is figuring that out. I'm gonna have to meet everyone because there are so many new names here that I don't recognize. I recognize Erwin. Of course, I recognize Mike, and of course, Leslie, thank you for coming in. And Abby. Oh, Sonia is a regular. Thank you, Sonia. Who else? I am gonna have to do this. Robbie, Marissa. Which Marissa is this? Is this Marissa Ariola? Just put Marissa. A
Not-
different
not-
Marissa.
Not
That's not our, okay. And Layla, of course. All right, so for the rest of you, do you mind introducing yourself? I'm gonna start with the top there. Is that, and by the way, this is actually a practice for when you interview, because when you get interviewed, you're gonna be asked to introduce yourself. And so I'm gonna put somebody in, in the classroom, we always do a model, you always do an exemplar. So I'm gonna put Abby or Leslie in the spot and let them do an example of what you would say since they're already here. They obviously have been successful on this. So can you please, one of you do an example of how you would answer it in an interview? Any of you? Which one, Leslie
Yes,
or
ma'am.
Abby? Leslie. Leslie looks like the one. Go ahead, Leslie.
What's the question? What's it?
Okay, call
Wala
a
pa palang
classmate,
question.
call a friend. Call a friend to help you.
I'm not listening because Miss Crystal Balan is like asking me for the meeting code and the password because she wanna like join to this morning. So I'm telling because she goes home, because she'll be going home this 9 in the morning because she will be coming back to the Philippines to be with the family during this hard time.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would understand that. Hey, Leslie, I want you to call a friend. This is what I do in the classroom. If
Yes, ma'am.
somebody, call a friend to help you.
Well, I'm gonna call. Well, I'm not being biased, but I want to call one of my aunts, Miss Giselle Ann Therese Matches. Hi, ma'am. Hi, ate.
Okay.
Hello, Dai.
Well, you have to remember, you have to know my prompt is you have to call someone that has been here, successful in the interview, so that they'll know what to include in them.
No, I'm not
Wonderful.
listening. I'm not a good student.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're busy.
I was
But,
not really
so
listening.
Which
Yeah.
friend is gonna save her?
Who's gonna save you? Well, nobody in here is. I don't know anybody.
I figured Abby
no,
would.
Yeah, well, we'll just take turns with Ate Abby. Ate Abby?
Yeah.
Huh?
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah.
And in your
Oh, yeah.
classroom, by the way, when you do that, especially your middle school and high school, they really do not want to be put in a spot. So I always say, and that's the number one here, I always say call a friend or, friends help him or her, because you don't want to ever embarrass somebody.
Yes, that's
and so
really
that's,
the
yeah.
thing.
And I don't want to
I
embarrass.
have encountered it here because I am an elementary teacher in the Philippines for 11 years. So, I'm used to the kids, and now I'm transitioning to high school. So it's kind of like different for me. It's harder for me to manage high school students and the people around me would just like, because one of my co-teachers or many of my co-teachers in Barton would just say, you should stop being sweet. you are just so sweet. That's why sometimes you were having a hard time managing your students. And I would just like say, how would I stop being sweet?
They
I've
want
been
to be mean.
sweet. Yeah, they want me to be mean, and I just couldn't, I just couldn't be like that. So
Yeah.
right now I am finding the right, strategies every day. It's just, ma'am, it's in here in America. It's like every day is really a new day. So you will be surprised each and every day. So there will be a lot of things going on in your classroom, and you will just be surprised. So I don't know, just being a teacher in America, it will really teach you a lot of things, I guess. So when you go back to the Philippines, well, teaching will just be, a piece of cake.
Oh, I think you're right about that. But you know what they say is that we are nice. Filipino teachers are nice, but
Yeah.
You just need to show also that yes, I care about you, but I'm in business.
Mhm.
And that's what I was always afraid when I was teaching, that they would not listen to me because I'm only 4'10", but
Yes.
it's not about the height. It's not
not
about the
about it.
size. Yep.
Yes.
It's about your voice, the way you look, and the way you just like, if you know what you're doing, you just prepared. And which is hard in the first year being in America, because you really don't know how to prepare yet, but once you're prepared, you're confident. And what do I say? You fake it until you make it,
Yes,
once you have
that's
that,
it.
then your first week, oh my goodness, I feel so sorry for them, because most of them the first week like cried or was so upset.
Well,
So Abby, Abby, will you do this? Introduce yourself like my first prompt, and then tell us about your experience, because this is now
Okay.
3 weeks in America.
Okay, ma'am. So good morning, everyone. Good evening there in the Philippines. I am Abigail Musao. I graduated Bachelor in Elementary Education last 2009, and I attained my master's degree in 2014, Master's in Education. I am specializing special education, and I've been teaching there for 9 years. And this is my third week here. And so far, my first week here has been so good because they let us observe first. We had orientation, and then they let us observe for the first week here. And on the second week, we have our classes already, but there are still support coming in our classroom, and they would ask, how is everybody doing, and what do you need? Everything that we can provide, just tell us, because we will be happy to help you. And we just finished our third week. Was it third week or the fourth week? I guess that's the fourth week. That's the fourth week we had. We just finished our fourth week. Yes. Oh, today is our momsary here. Happy
Okay.
momsary to us.
Well, Abby is one of the lucky ones, though. She's got really full support from her administrator. And they have asked, their school started like about what, a month before everybody else. And so
yes,
we have
we started actually July 18th. We had PD and the classes start July 25th. And then we arrived here. We arrived here at 10th of August.
But before that, they were already teaching online. So
Yes,
so when they got here, they got paid already.
Yes.
They've been earning. So that's not very many schools. I'm trying to get Mike's school to do that. And they said they're still trying to talk to the right people to approve it. But anyhow, so in her school, they got all kinds of things going, like because they have built in the 20-something days already. So they are able to distribute that like every other Friday, they don't have school.
Yes, we have flex days.
And since Leslie is in another school, she doesn't really have the same benefits. Leslie, what is going on in your school like different than Abby's?
Well, in my school, I understand them because it is their first time to hire Filipino teachers from the Philippines. So I cannot really say that they are not doing their job. They just don't know what to do with me because I was the first Filipino there. So when I first came in, it was my first day, and it was the first day of school actually when I came in. So I was like, asking my superintendent of what to do because I don't know how do they, do their classes in here. And they just and he just told me, oh, you can now go to your classroom and do your thing. Just be yourself. And he told me that. I was like, oh, and I was like, should I do that, sir? Like, I was like lost for words. I don't know what to say. And it's just like, okay. So I went to my classroom and then, well, I didn't know what to do because I was expecting to be like, at the Abbey. They were like given a week to observe. And I was like also expecting the same thing, but I didn't get that. So I started having classes and I was, assigned to 7th and 8th grade level. And I think this is like, one of the challenging stage for children. They are like transitioning from elementary to high school. And, they just want to be like, adults, but they are not really. They're just like kids and they just want to be like, adults and everything. So I was just like, okay, I'll just start. And then I started my class. I don't know what to do. So because we Filipino teachers, the only thing about us is we are like, very flexible. We can like, adjust to the different situations. We are, as they say, we are very like, resilient. So
Great.
what I did, I asked them, of course, I introduced myself and I also let them introduce themselves. And then to kill time because it's my first day and I did not do anything because I was supposed to observe in my mind. So
Because that's what I thought he was gonna do too. I suggested that. Yeah.
And then what happened? I introduced myself and then they introduced themselves and then, oh, it's not ringing, the bell's not ringing yet. And I look at the time, I still have 20 minutes left. So what I did was I told them, do you have a special number? Because I have one. And they said, well, we also have like special numbers. Yeah. And I want to like tell you my special number and the reason why it is my special number, because in math, we will be dealing with numbers, So since we will be dealing with numbers in mathematics, I want to give you my special number and the reason why it is my special number. And after that, you are also going to give me your special number and you are going to write it on your paper, write your name at the top, write your number, special number on the center of the paper, make it bigger, and below that number, write the reason why is that your lucky number, your favorite number. Okay, so I told them mine and my special number is 7 because I passed, the interview at the embassy. That's why I'm here with you. So I told them that. And then they were like so excited about the numbers. So they wrote a lot of things. And then like I chose 5 volunteers to share their favorite numbers at the front. And then there was it. The bell's ringing. So bye everybody.
Yeah. Hi, very, very good though, because you know what? You're monitoring and adjusting and you're getting to know your students as well. And that was very nice thinking and very good thinking there, very quick thinking.
Yeah.
And as teachers, we do that.
Well, I learned it from you. Thanks to you because I've learned a lot of things. Really, I am not sugarcoating or anything. What I really learned here in America is really coming from Dr. Merlina because I only have at least 1-2 absences during her Zoom meetings. I think if there's an award for best in attendance, I should receive it.
You got it, and Mike and Abby.
Yeah, because I kept on attending every time because when you attend her meetings every time, you will really learn a lot from her, and not just her, of course. Other teachers here, you will be also learning a lot from them.
Well,
so you. I really thank myself for not being absent most of the time, even if in the Philippines it's like, well, Dr. Merlina has a lot of things to say. She is she has a lot in her head. She has a lot of ideas and everything. And sometimes it's like 12 midnight already in the Philippines. And I was just like keep my eyes open, what is she saying? And then sometimes she would like, Leslie, what can you say about, I was just like, oh
no problem. But thank you for sharing.
But I'm really happy, Doc, because it's really the reason why I am surviving in here. And also, Well, Dr. Merlina is like one of the consultants in my school. She is now hired in my school, so I'm so happy, and she
I
is
get
like
to- yeah.
helping me all the
Yeah,
way.
I get to visit her once a month. The other schools are asking me to come every week. I am still working on Abby's school. I don't know, Dr. Farr said
Yeah.
something about talking to me, but I know in my school, I go three times a month. So the fourth month will be Leslie's. Brinkley, that's where Maria is. I go every week. So they have a contract with
Oh.
me to go every week for the rest of the year. So it's nice. And so I thought, well, you know what? If I ever go on vacation, what happens? Because I'm going to Hawaii to see my daughter. Who lives
Yeah.
in Hawaii. And so they said, well, Merlina, just double up before or after you come back. And I said, okay, good. Because that's what I'm going to do, because I do not want not to have a life anymore. You know, I'm retired. You know, for those that are new, I am retired. I retired in 2016 from the Department of Education and as a literacy specialist for the state. So we train teachers all over the state. And then the trainers of the teachers we train, and then they train the teachers. So we were in the second level or the top level. And then, so anyway, this is my new passion, is to help you guys to come. And I have about 170 something applications right now in my list. And what I've done was I have sent the link to the whole Google Sheet to all the, I don't know, more than 2,000 administrators in the state of Arkansas. And then I've also sent it to the neighboring states. So Texas and Louisiana, Tennessee, and I don't know, so many of them. In Texas, it's a really bad shortage, a shortage in America, as you know. And Texas is a really bad one. Like, you know, Houston, you might get some in Houston after October 1, whenever the J1 visa is open again. So they would be maybe interviewing some. And there are some people that are quitting in the middle of the year too. So don't give up hope thinking that you won't be hired until next school year, because there are some people, like in one school, three people already quit the first month. You know, so they're now scrambling to find somebody. And of course, because J1 visa is usually gone by May and June, or July anyway. So H1B is the other option, and that's where Mike is gonna be under. It's a better visa actually, but it takes 2 to 6 months. And the school, thankfully, will do premium processing, which is an extra 2,500. They will say 2,500 here instead of 2,500. So $2,500 extra per person in order for them to know the result within 2 weeks. It doesn't increase their chances of getting picked, but they'll know immediately, you know, what the result is. So hopefully they will have good results, because there's 4 of them. There's Mike and 3 ladies that are coming to and you are really needed, Mike. That school really needs more teachers. And so so they can't wait to see you all. And then Mike was excited whenever during the PD that their names are already there. And I said, I told you you're official.
Yes,
So hopefully if they see that you're not approved already, what I'm trying to let them, you know, do is do the online teaching, you know, that you all, like we did in COVID, because we have the technology in the Philippines now to be able to do that. And so that's why I'm trying to convince them. That way you'll still be earning your dollars, but even though you're still where you are. I know Mike is in Qatar, right, Mike? You're in Qatar?
Currently, ma'am, I'm here in the Philippines.
Oh, you're in
for
the
a short
Philippines. Yeah,
vacation.
you did go on vacation. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you're
short
excited
vacation.
to see your family.
And then
Okay.
when I go back in Qatar, I will take my TOEFL there.
Okay, yeah, that's TOEFL is the teachers of English as a foreign language. And if you're planning to be in Arkansas, you may want to start taking your TOEFL. And I think Abby and Leslie, you might want to register it ASAP, because the sooner you pass it, the sooner you're going to get your license from Arkansas. That is the biggest hurdle for people. You know, I know of a teacher a long time, like 4 or 5 years ago, that taught in Arkansas. I think she moved to another state now. It took her 5, 6, 7 times, you know, a lot of times to do it. And then it's not cheap. It's like $200 something, $260, I think, is the price of the every time you take a test. And this is a test that's required in a few states, but not all. Somebody's raising a hand. Abby, did you raise your hand? Go
Yes,
ahead.
Doc.
Uh-huh.
Permission to leave because we will be sending Mom Crystal to the airport today at 9 a.m.
Okay, tell her, somebody driving her, I guess.
Yes, ma'am. Officer Perry from our school.
Okay. All right. Well,
Okay, ma'am.
tell her have a safe trip, okay? And
Yes, ma'am. Have a good day, everyone. Good night to the Philippines.
Okay.
Nice to meet you all. Bye.
bye, bye.
Miss you,
Crystal is the
ma'am. We
roommate.
miss
Yeah.
you.
Yep. Okay. Thank you again, ladies.
Bye.
So
Bye, ma'am.
yeah. Bye. Bye, Leslie.
Thank you so much. By the way, I wanna thank you first because yesterday I was like Mrs. Debbie Young talked about my the placement where I will not be put in the high school. So
Really?
yeah, they listened to you and they
I
were
called
like
the
talking about
superintendent.
it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then another thing, so they were like talking about it already. And then there's Miss Kelsey Riley from the co-op. I was there yesterday. We were there yesterday with Mrs. Marisa because we attended like one PD yesterday, and she asked me about because we have to introduce ourselves, and I told everybody that I am teaching math. My license is SPED in elementary, and then when Miss Debbie Young came in, she told why did you let her teach in high school when she's in elementary and she is a SPED teacher?
Yep.
And well, Miss Debbie Young told her that we were talking about it already because Dr. McCullough is I'm talking about it. So thank you, Doc. I just want to thank you.
I called the superintendent from home. I said, hey, you are going to put her in danger of getting sent home because you are not going with her DS, 2019, which is saying you are telling, that's kind of like your contract with the agents, with the sponsor, saying that Leslie will be teaching 6th grade, will be teaching SPED, and this is how much you're paying her. You have to go by that, or else she could be sent home. He was like afraid that you'll be sent home.
Yeah, he was really afraid. And now I was like telling you in the first day, I was not able, I was like scrambling because I don't know what to do. But now we have all the support that we needed. Like they gave us all of their numbers, and if you wanna you wanna do something, go to Walmart or anything, we can just call every numbers that are in there, and also they are taking us everywhere we wanna go.
Oh, good, because I think
the supplies are coming in. A lot of supplies.
Yeah, I think it was after these 7 ladies walked to Walmart, which was about a 2-hour thing, and that was kind of scary. This women. Was there a male there with you? Was
no,
there was no just one. Female, this pretty female, and just going to Walmart by themselves, walking, and so they were so afraid that that something
will happen. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah,
and
you're
we'll
welcome.
See you soon.
Okay.
Miss
Bye.
you.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Bye-bye.
Dr. Elvin, I made you a group expert. I don't know if you got the notification yet. You and Mike are always helping us there. So I made you a group expert. Did you get a request?
Not yet, Doc. I'll try to check my email. And good evening, everyone, or good morning to all. Thank you for allowing us to have this. I mean the FB. I mean the Messenger group chat, because it is actually a big help for all of us.
Being helpful. Yeah, good. Well, I hope that you have been, looking at the website, because I have been putting a lot of resources there. A lot of my administrator friends are actually on part of our members there. And in fact, I was so happy the other day that I saw that the secretary of the Department of Education, my former boss, Secretary Key, Johnny Key, was actually liking one of the posts, the one where I posted Leslie that arrived that just arrived with her superintendent being met in the airport. And I saw that Senator Key liked it. So I was so happy to see that he's actually looking at our site. So he said that he's really excited that we are getting the help of the Filipino, or they call them international teachers, the international teachers, to help with the shortage of teachers in Arkansas, because we have a really bad one, especially in the Delta where Mike and them are teaching, because that is in the border of Mississippi and Arkansas, and that is one of the poorest, or really the poorest area of the state. And you're getting teachers that are maybe taking 1 year, I mean, teaching 1 year and then leaving. It's almost like a revolving door, people coming in and then leaving because there's just nothing there. There's just nothing. And there's only an hour something from Little Rock, the capital. So of course, if you're single and you want some nightlife or whatever, then they want to go move to Little Rock. They just want to get like 1 year experience. But they are the ones that really need the most help. So I feel like that's my passion, is helping the Delta area, because the other areas, they don't need our help. This is the area that we need the help. So I'm so disappointed whenever somebody is talking about like, well, I want to leave, I want to do this or whatever. And I'm like, well, I can't really stop you, but I just know that this area is my passion. This is the area where it needs our help. They are in the bottom. When you look at the test scores, they're in the bottom. And so right now, one of the schools actually that is Mike's school, that they have a 10%, gain last year. And those subjects were taught by Filipino teachers. So they actually let them stand up in the middle during the PD meeting when everybody was there, and they were acknowledging them that you are making a difference. So it's kind of neat that to see that. So I'm excited that as the more that we have international teachers in the schools, the more difference that it's showing, and it's obviously showing. So thank you again. I know Dr. Elvin, he has had a lot of interviews. So what was your last interview at? I know different states had been asking for his reference.
I was interviewed for St. Croix, but they had this problem about the visa, so we just have to wait. So, but I'm hoping and praying that I will be part of Arkansas, the team, your team, because we're like family here already.
I
I learned to love this group, and I have seen our friends here went already to Arkansas, and next week I have a schedule for global partners.
Okay.
That's for Louisiana, I think.
But I will still support you. You can still join us even though you're in another state, Mike. I mean, Elvin, Dr. Elvin, because you will not be kicked out just because you're not from Arkansas. No, this is this is a US.
But I really would love to be employed in Arkansas. I mean, to teach in Arkansas.
Thank you for that. I'm glad you're.
My heart will always be there. This one, my first love.
Yeah, that's good. I think you're needed. You're needed in many places. So he's got science, and that's a really hard subject, and science and math really hard to staff. So, okay, Sonia's another one. She's got her doctorate also. Sonia, thank you for coming in. Is there message you want to tell everybody? Some things that you may have learned in the past. We have lots of new ones today.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Merlina. And I'm still waiting for interviews, although I applied because, I'm PhD in English, and English is not one of their major need. It's the SPED, the math, and the science.
Right.
But if I get in, I will be very helpful to the school because I have so many skills like editing, writing, speech coach. I do writing workshop, so a lot, and also mentor students to be leaders.
So make sure that you mention that in your interview, find a way to get that in. And the part about, your editing, you might want to mention something about journalism, that you'll be glad to do the journalism, because nobody wants that here. They always pass it to the new person. And so if you mention that, that might be like, oh yeah, we found a journalism teacher. So so that would be good to mention. And also if you coach something, that's a good thing to mention. Okay, Mike, you have one. I'm just going up on the line there on top. Mike, do you have anything to say to them? Important thing to say?
Yes, Doc. To all the newcomers in our group chat, Facebook group. During the interview, always be honest, and if you don't know anything, or if you don't know about what they are asking, feel free or be honest that you don't have any idea, because they will help you to have an idea, like what I did. I don't have an idea about idea, and then they give me an idea. So now I have an idea about what is IDEA.
IDEA special ed, here. And of course, when you're asked something like that, you need to say, well, I don't know about that, but in the Philippines, this is what we do. This is what is the equivalent. You might want to say that. That way they kind of nice that you are wanting to learn. You've got a growth mindset. And that's always a good thing, rather than play like act like I know it all, like I know everything, when nobody knows everything. And as school administrator, as a former school administrator, I love teachers that are humble. They're not a know-it-all, like, oh, I know everything, whatever. I'd rather have somebody that I don't know it, but I have resources that I could find out. You can mention me because you're attending my Zoom. But anyway, yes, a very good lesson there, Mike. He was very authentic, and I think that's why he was hired. All right, two schools were actually looking at him. Okay, is that Giselle? Giselle Ann, okay. And you are related to Leslie?
Doc.
Yeah.
Yes, Leslie and Abby, Doc.
Okay, yeah. That you're a sister, right?
No, I'm Abby's niece and Leslie's cousin.
Oh, okay. You have a big family now. We're actually looking at your uncle. In Int'l, they're looking for somebody for East, and I happen to have I have lunch with the superintendent every time I come, and so this is a female superintendent, Brenda, the one that has shown a picture of Leslie. So I was talking to her, and I said, you know what? I'm so thankful for Leslie's brother. Now she feels like she knows the teachers here, and I said, because he did the logo for us, and he even drew my picture. Like a charcoal picture of me, and Leslie gave it to me, and I'm like, he's so talented. And Leslie was telling me of all the projects, the community projects that he does, and so on. And then she said, Merlina, that East will be perfect for East teacher. And I said, yeah, because it's project based. And so I said, well, I want you to get his information, his resume, cover letter, and send it to me. And so that's when he did. So hopefully he'll have an interview soon. But it sounds like very promising. So anyway, but tell us about you. Now you've heard them introduce themselves. Do you mind telling us about you, Giselle?
Hey, Doc, this is my second time joining the Zoom. My first time that was 2 weeks ago because it was postponed last week. Can you hear me, Doc?
It's on and off. It's like it's cutting in and out.
Okay. How about this time? I think maybe because of the signal. Okay.
Okay. So, no, we can hear you now.
Again, yeah, this is my second time for the Zoom meeting, as I was invited by Abigail's sister. And introducing myself, I am Giselle Antaris Macias. I am a graduate of Bachelor in Elementary of Education. That was way back 2007 at Cebu Normal University, major in mathematics. And I've been teaching in Deep Ed since 2009. So it's been almost 13 years. This October 16, I will be 13 years in Deep Ed. I am an elementary teacher. I've been teaching grade 6 for 13 years, handling mathematics. I also teach mathematics in grade 4 and grade 5. And as I've said last meeting, here in the Philippines, we have other teacher responsibilities. Like, since I was hired, I have other teacher responsibilities. I've been an RRM coordinator. I've been also since we don't have school nurse, I've been a health aid teacher. We call that health aid teacher. And I've also been the school-based feeding teacher. And I've also been a coach for badminton. What else? I think that's all here in our school, because we have a small school, so we have lots of responsibilities aside from teaching. So those are my major, and currently I've been also the mathematics and the science coordinator in our school. So I guess that's what it.
Doc, you're muted.
Hello, Doc. We cannot hear you.
You're muted po, Doc.
Sorry. Anyway, I like to put it on mute when I'm listening that way. If there's noises here, you won't hear. But three things that you need to include whenever after you say about your education, your experience, and so on, is how you got into education. So your passion, and is that your passion? Like mine was because I was in pre-law, but when I came to the US, I decided, you know what, law is something that I do not know in the US. So I decided my first love was actually education, because I used to teach our neighborhood kids. And the only job I ever had in the Philippines was actually tutoring 2 kids. So that's my passion. That's how I got into education. And second one is, why did you want to teach in the US? Because they're going to be wondering about that. What prompted you? And do not just say because of the money. That's secondary. I know that's a lot of it, but you always need to say something about being, for a professional growth, to grow, professionally and personally, to learn more about the culture, international cultural exchange kind of type thing. And then at the end, you always need to thank them. Thank you so much for this opportunity to interview with you. I know you're really busy. So feel free to ask me any questions. And that's kind of how you end up with it, because if you don't do that, my husband's if you don't do that, then they are gonna be spending their time asking you, which is, usually you give them 10 to 15 minutes. And so if you already cover that in your introduction, then you can answer other questions that would help them, hire you. And including the things that you are extra is good. And also if you are coaching something, like Mike, I think was coaching. Mike, did you mention something about coaching badminton? Was it badminton?
Yes, Doc. Coaching badminton and also volleyball and also the scouting.
Yeah, because if you do that, then they might think of like, oh, we need somebody to do that. We need somebody to start that particular sport in our school. So I think Leslie, I think she said volleyball, and volleyball is a really big sport here, becoming a bigger sport here in the US. So coaching volleyball is a good thing to include. Okay, so Erwin is also another regular. Erwin, you have a statement or two before we go on to the new ones? Thank you for attending again.
Good morning there, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I'm not feeling well, actually.
Sorry.
I have my rough throat right now, so I don't know what to say, but I just want to share that Little Rock has messaged me, I think a week ago, and it's Michelle Davenport, if I'm not mistaken. Miss Michelle Davenport, and asking me about the documents that I have to send to her. I sent it already, and I'm just waiting for another update whenever that's already.
Little Rock is only 3 hours from me, and so that is the capital. So if you end up there, there will be lots of apartments available, and well, there are some good places there and bad places, safe places. So I'll make sure that you are in a good place, and then so good luck on it. I hope you do, because
thank you very much, ma'am. I'm looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah, when HR reaches out to you, that means that they like you. They usually take like the top 10 of the applicants, so you made it to the top 10 or top 5 in some cases. Okay, so I had sent them a link to your introduction, 2-minute introduction, and I made yours as a model. And I think some of the Little Rock HRs a member, so they have seen you there. So I think that helped you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. So Maria Teresa, you're new, right? Maria Teresa, you're new?
Good morning.
Macasero.
Yes, Doc, I'm new here.
Go ahead and tell us about yourself. This is a good practice for you for your first question in the interview. Without comment on it.
I'll try.
Okay.
Okay, good morning to all of you. I'm Maria Teresa Macasero. I graduated Bachelor of Elementary Education, major in General Science. I used to teach in the Philippines for around 12 years, but currently I am in Bangkok, Thailand.
Okay.
I am also teaching here in the elementary. I'm teaching grade 2 and grade 3 students abroad, because I also used to teach in Japan and in Myanmar. So I want to tour around Asia. No, that's just a joke. And then So I also had my master's, but it's not really about like the it's a EDD, Doctor of Master of Arts in Education, major in Education Management, and I also have I earned units, or actually it's a car in EDD and the same major, but because of I think maybe for some reasons I want to explore more. I want to improve myself personally and professionally. That's the reason why I want to try experiencing, or I want to experience teaching in other places as well. And because I considered myself to be like a beginner all the time, that I have to think that I can learn each day, because I want to teach in the US for one, of course, for the professional development, personal development mainly, because I used to be a strict teacher in the Philippines, and a lot of students, of course, they don't like me. I think so. They don't like me because of the way I handled them, but it was like more of like being. I'm in business, but it's not really that mean. But when I went to other country, I experienced culture shock. I almost quit. Like I was assigned in grade 5 because some students really have to answer you like in a mean way, in right on your face, and I was able to adjust to it. So in that, with that experience, I could say to myself, oh, I need a lot. I need a lot of improvement. I need to explore more and like learn how to deal with problems, how to deal with students, how other students from other countries behave when teach in the real classroom setting. So that's the reason why I am joining here now, because I know this will be very helpful group to those who are trying to seek for more improvement. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Very good. I think that, yeah, that was very informative. I really like that you had included the number of countries that you visited, because as an administrator, I would think that, oh, this will be a good candidate because this teacher had gone and experienced different cultures. And so what you could have done after that, you said that I have been to this country, this country, this country. And from that, I learned that I can handle students from diverse, cultures. So that kind of put it back to the learning that you have. And then you said something about being strict. It's not a bad thing to be strict, but you need to be strict, firm, but yet loving and caring of your students. So you see how you balance it there? You're not strict and mean, because sometimes strict and mean are being seen as synonyms. You need to balance it by saying strict, yes, firm, yes, but I also care and love my students. They know I care about them. And so anyway, so you can kind of balance it. You don't want it to sound negative. Okay. And when you said something about your master's degree, do not discount it by saying, oh, but it's not whatever. No, be proud of it. I have my master's degree in administration, and I'm currently working on my hours. Instead of units, you need to say hours, in my hours towards my doctorate degree. Because you know what? That shows me that you're always going above and beyond. And that shows me that you are a growth mindset person. And we like that. Okay, administrators like that. So yeah, you did well. I don't think you have any, much more tutoring needed. So anyway, yeah, thank you for sharing about you. Okay, we're gonna go to Juanito. Esta. Juanito you have attended this before. I know, I remember, and I got your video. Yes. Good video. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much. Hello, everybody. And for the teachers who are outside the Philippines, congratulations. You are now, well, of course, your dream came true. I hope we can actually go there. Now, for everyone, I had also that experience for the interview last time from North Carolina, wherein you need to tell a little about yourself. So I was actually confused about the word little. Then the question, tell me something about yourself. So I was confused about the word littles, but still I was able to provide the information that was given, of course, aside from my name, the number of years in teaching for 15 years. And I was able to inform them about the years in the public school together with the experience in the senior high school and the college level. And I did inform also about the skills that I have. But to tell you honestly, Doc, I was shocked with two questions that the first time I met during, I had actually 6 interviews and still on the running to make it and of course to achieve my dream going in the America. And the two questions was, what are your two best skills that you could actually, share to your colleagues? And the other one is, if you were given a task outside the school, what task is that?
Okay. They're really wanting to know your extra skills. They want to know, I think they want to know with that kind of question is, are you a collaborator? Like your answer could be, I am a very, I have a strong interpersonal relation, skills, and that I get along with the folks. I am a team player. I love collaborating with other teachers. Those are the things that they wanna know if you are that. So yeah, and when they say a little, it's just saying to you that I don't want a book. Don't write a book. You need to tell me just something about your, they don't want personal. They wanted a professional part, like your education, if you have any master's degree, your number of years of experience, why did you get, those things that I mentioned. They don't need to know about if you're married. They don't know about your age. Those are illegal questions, by the way, because they don't know, because they're not supposed to discriminate you again because of your age or whatever, So you need to just stick with the professional information, and that's what the little means. Okay,
Okay.
tell us a book. Read us a book.
Yes, one more thing, Doc, that I'm actually confused about. Wherein before they will actually end the interview, they would actually ask the teacher, "Do you have questions for us?" Now, let me just, the best advice that you could actually provide. What is the best question that you could actually ask for them? Because the last time I had the interview, I asked them out if they're actually providing professional growth. Well, actually, their answer would be yes. And if I didn't know if I'm lucky with Westover High School, because I was able to ask them if they have a debate club in the school and the ASA club, and they answer it. Actually, Mr. Estuesta, we don't have that organization or club, but when you get here, that is the first thing that you will be doing here. So I don't know what exactly the reason was.
Perfect. That's a way to get in, that what you can do. That's part of your, these are some extra things I can offer you. It's like a little carrot that you're dangling, like, oh, hey, hire me because I can do this for you. That's a really good, smart thing to do. Okay. So keep doing that. And if other things that you could say is that other than PD are things that are there other Filipino teachers in the area? I'm curious of, are there there's some folks like me there? And then about the community, what kinds of students that you have? What are the what type of ethnic diversity that you have? But these things that you should know already, because once you get the interview, these are the things that Mike and them already know this. When you get the interview, the first thing you should do is Google that school, go to their website, and you need to look at the pictures in the website. You can kind of tell the population by the pictures they show on the website. That shows the sample of the students that they have. If they show a lot of mostly African Americans, in all probability, that school is mostly African Americans. Like in the area where I'm helping, they're mostly African American, students. They might be 1 or 2 white students, not very many Asian. It's mostly a Black community area, and that they need the most help from us. And so anyway, you look at that and you look at their mission and vision. If you have a way to memorize the short ones and kind of insert it as your answer, that's impressive to me. When you have done your homework and you actually went to our website and memorized our mission or vision, you don't have to do the verbatim, you can just do the gist of it, just like your vision says. And then you say it. Oh my goodness, that would be impressive. Okay. And you look at their, I want you to look at their policies, like your handbook, your student handbook, your teacher handbook. They are all listed there. So if you read, especially on the discipline, because they're going to ask you about discipline. Every school has a different discipline policy. Like some schools may be like, the first time it happens in Helena, for example, the first time that the student does something, then it is a verbal warning. The next time is going to be calling the parents. And then after that is going to involve the counselor. And after that is going to be a referral to the principal. And that is a big deal because once they are referred to the principal, they could be sent home, you know, so they could be sent to an ALE or alternative learning environment, which they don't want to because it's like a very strict area and they cannot do anything. They're not free. And or they could do an ISS, which is an in-school suspension. There's actually a room where, you know, if you are not sent home, this is a room like you're being sent. And that's a really bad room. You know, you don't want to be sent there. It's a bad connotation. It's really a bad thing for students. They don't want that. And then, of course, if it's really bad, if it's really a bad thing, they could either, if it's a criminal thing, like, for example, hitting a teacher, trying to hit a teacher, anything like that. And that's a criminal thing, they would call the cops. And every school in America, pretty much, I think, even though the really small ones, have SROs. And SROs are school resource officers. School resource officers are the police. They're actually working for the police department in the area, and then they usually either paid by the half the school and half the city, or sometimes it will be just, you know, it depends. If the city is rich, then they will be paying for that, and they were assigning that SRO to that school. And usually, in most cases, they have a room for the SROs, and the SRO sometimes will teaching them, you know, things about character education, depending, you know, things about like anti-drug things that they would teach, you know, things like that, that makes a student a better student. And they are very visible in the campus. They're very visible. They're always like their car is always parked by the front. And, you know, they believe that might be a deterrent. If somebody try to do something, they see that cop's car. And then the students know them. You know, in fact, I think in my school, they've been asking the SRO to like meet them at the airport because Mr. Jointer is very, very open. Like, yeah, I would like to meet them. And so he would bring his girlfriend or something, and they would meet the new teachers. So yeah, he's very supportive of the international teachers. But yeah, those are some things that I just taught you some acronym about ISS and SRO. Those are some things that you would like to know, because in your interview, if you're asked that, you need to know those. And so anyway, and that's good that you also mentioned that you teach college, because that shows me that you are very versatile and that you could be teaching, you know, our seniors, you know. So that those are the things that whenever you're sharing something about yourself, they actually, as an administrator, I've been looking at, okay, what place can I put this teacher? Why would I hire this teacher? It's because of this. You know, so that could be a really good plus. Okay, just remember, do not use the word units. You say hours. They do not know what units are. You need to say hours. I have 36 hours towards my degree in whatever. Okay, so use the word hours. All right, thank you so much. Good job on that. All right, so next one is Lorwena. I love that name, Lorwena. Do you mind talking to us?
Hello, everyone. Good day. I am Lorwena Bernal. I am new to this group, and I'm happy for that. Thank you, Sir Mike and Dr. Merlina, for accepting me through my friend Leila Abulencia.
Okay.
You were referred to me by Leila Abulencia, and then she requested Sir Mike, I believe so. She requested you to add me to the group, and so I'm glad to be here now.
Good.
So as a new member, I would like to introduce myself. Again, I would like to state my name, Lorwena Bernal, but for some people, they pronounce it as Lorena. Most especially some Americans, they say it's Lorwena. And I'm not very particular with the pronunciation of my name. As long as it is, then that would be fine for me. So I'm a teacher. I'm currently teaching in OB Montessori, Fairview campus in the Philippines, teaching 4th to 6th grades and teaching mathematics and geometry. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in secondary education, major in mathematics and religious education. And I'm currently pursuing my master's degree in education, major in special education. I have been teaching for almost 20 years now. I taught high school for 9 years.
Okay.
And then I also experienced teaching in college for 2 years. And the last 9 years is devoted to teaching the grade schoolers. I graduated the secondary education major in math, but sad to say, I never practiced teaching mathematics in the high school students. I became a devoted teacher to the elementary students, but the same major, mathematics. And I would like to share also the reason why I became a teacher, if you don't mind. So I chose to become a teacher because I firmly believe that it is all for the cause of the child. And I love to stimulate students' interest in learning, most especially in numbers. Though some people say numbers are difficult, numbers cannot be friends with some people, something like that. But I would like to erase that notion that numbers can be friends with anyone, something to that effect. And this might be a dream for me, but I'm working on it. I am aiming to create a legacy by building a good relationship, or let's say the right relationship between the child and adult as a teacher. So that has been my vocation as an educator. And I would like also to share with the group that I experienced some interviews from employers in the United States. And the common thing that they ask me is that how will I execute management, behavior management in the classroom.
Classroom management.
So if I may share,
yes,
I hope it would help, or perhaps Dr. Merlina and the group could still enlighten me with how should I answer it. So every time I encounter that question, I would say that I manage the behavior of my students by first building the trust and relationship with them at the very beginning. And I also let my students know and feel that I genuinely care about them. And I would be very happy to see them become successful. And setting clear rules and boundaries and expectations together at the very beginning will let the students feel somehow the ownership and respond for them to become responsible to obey the rules agreed from the very start, something to that effect.
When you do the ownership part, you might want to say, if the ownership part of it is that if they're involved in the classroom, making of the classroom rules. So if that is what happened, you need to say that because I involve my students in the making of classroom rules, then they have more ownership, on it. You might want to say that. That would be something good to add, I think. But you have some really great things that you do. Are you finished, or you go ahead and finish, and I'll comment in the end. Are you finished?
I mean, yes, ma'am. I'm good. I'm done.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's good that you did Montessori. That's a really good thing, because Montessori, when you hear Montessori here in the US, we always think of hands-on, really loving and caring, environment for our young children. So that's always a good thing too, a plus in my mind. And but what confused me is that, and at first I was like thinking, while you were talking, I was thinking, oh, that's good that she has both elementary and high school. But wait a minute, when you mentioned that, however, I don't have the experience of the secondary, you might not want to put a, you might not want to focus on that, because I was already was really glad that you have those experiences. But because you are math, and you may have to take a praxis. So you might want to mention, if you mention the part that you did not have the experience that's matching your degree, you want to make sure that you mention, I am very willing to take praxis tests in order for me to teach in the area you want me to. You know, I'm very willing to take the praxis, praxis. That is a test that that's given here in the US in order for you to teach in an area that you're not certified. Okay, like my sister was certified certain, like for example, you know, up to 8th, and she wanted the 9-12, so she took a praxis test for 9-12. She passed it. Now she can teach all the way to 12th grade. So, so yours may be the same case if you're teaching math, but I do not know about the elementary and the secondary though. I do not know if it's something that you can take a praxis for, or do you have to take classes? I don't remember, because there's some cases where it's very different, very far, that they have to pretty much take some classes. So I do not know. I have to ask that question to someone. I have a good friend at the Department of Ed in the licensure. I could ask Vanessa that. But you make it sound like you're very flexible because you have taught in different grade levels, and also you have even taught, you know, college, which is good. And then love math. I love the part when you said that you want students to love math. You might not want to use the word hate. You might want to say that I want students to love, so that way make it positive. You know, I realize that there are some math anxiety, especially with some of our female students, you know, both male and female really, but some of our female, I found that some of our female students have math anxiety, and I want them to love math because I love math. I'm very passionate about math, and I want to share that passion with my students. So you might want to say that and try to, you know, if you say something that's kind of in a negative way, try to make it positive. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So classroom management part, I love that you said about building the relationship, building that trust relationship with students. You may want to also add how. Like, for example, I want them to share about themselves, or I get to, you know, the first of the year before I even met them, when I got the list, I went to the records and I look at their CUMs. They call them CUMs here, cumulative folder, CUM, cumulative folders here. And to see the record, like what their background or whatever. And sometimes you may even have talked to the teacher from the, you know, the year before, you know, because we, in our school, in one of the schools that I taught in, we actually met with the, like, 4th grade teachers would meet with the 3rd grade teachers, and we share things about every child, and we take notes about each child, and we try to make it positive. Like, do not tell us negative, because we don't want to start negatively with that child. We need to have a, you know, a very blank slate. We don't want to label somebody already as this or that. We want to know the positive about each child. So we were sharing that. So that what you can say is that I would make sure that I have talked to the previous teacher about, you know, the students that I have, and I need to make sure that I'm very firm and consistent on my routines and rules and procedures. I need to have protocols for as simple as having to pass the papers. How do I want the papers passed? How do I want, you know, the distribution of materials and all that? So those are some procedural things that you want to be consistent on. You know, you want the kids to do this every single time. And that way you have a very organized classroom. And if they want to go, if they line up, you don't want everybody to just get up and line up. I want them to, you know, I want them to do it a row at a time, or whatever. So it shows, if you do examples like that, it shows exactly how you're going to do it in your classroom. They want to be able to imagine what kind of teacher you are. Are you going to be an organized teacher? Or are you going to be a teacher that has a very big chaos where kids are just all over the place? Well, they don't want that. So if you give examples about specific things that you do, that will make your interview really, really much better. But you did well anyway. Just added a little bitty something, okay? Very good, very fluent.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate all those.
Yeah,
Thank
no problem.
you.
I hope everybody learns from that. I think we've done this so many months now, since March, huh, Mike? Mike says, well, heard that, been there and heard that. But anyway, but always, every time somebody would introduce themselves, there's always something that everybody learns from. You know, and I'm looking at your body language, I'm looking at your face, I'm looking at your nonverbal. 70% of communication is nonverbal. So I'm looking at how, you know, you're smiling and you are excited, and you want that. You want somebody to be hungry. That doesn't mean hungry for food. Hungry, like, I want this so bad. Now you want that. I'm always looking for that when I'm interviewing teachers, like for real, to hire. And in one of the schools that I worked in, we actually had them to have a practice. Like we are your students. Teach us a certain topic that you like, and we are now your students. How do you do that? And so what they're really looking for is that how do you start your class? Do you start with the objectives? Do you start telling the kids what you're going to be teaching that time, and then tell them why? Why do they need to know this? And then start teaching. And then make sure that you involve that in order for me, because I know that my students, I want to know what my students know about this. I might start a KWL. What you want to know and what you want to learn. So I might want to start with that. So you show your pre-assessment, and then what are the activities you're going to do? You might want to do some strategies, like 10 minutes, 10 minutes you talk and 2 minutes the students are processing with a think, pair, share, or think, pair, write, and share. You show that you are using strategies in your classroom. And then while the kids are doing this, I'm monitoring and I'm observing and try to see which students might need help. And then I'm going to have them to share in the front. The students are involved. You want to show that your classroom is like a classroom that's active. You're not just a sage on stage. You are a guide on the side, or you are a facilitator. And that's what you need to be, because they are not a vessel that you just pour information in. Okay, they are going to be problem solvers, critical thinkers. They're going to be independent learners in your classroom. That's what you want to show. Okay, and then at the end, you need to always say, okay, at the end, I want to do an exit slip, like 3, 2, 1, for example. 3 things they learned, 2 things they still want to learn, and 1 thing that they're going to share with someone. Anything that you want to say there, but you are showing the whole package, the beginning, the middle, and the end. And your assessment is in there. You're assessing before, during, and after. Okay. So if you do that, if you're being asked that, some schools may do that to you. Just make sure you cover those things. Okay, that school is we're very strict because we had so many applications. So in every job opening we had maybe 20 to 30. So we're really strict about, like, we really want to know how you would teach. And then the other ones that they might ask you, and I did this because I'm K-12 literacy specialist, I always say, so what's the last professional book that you read? Or so you need to make sure you'll be looking at those. I have posted that on the if you haven't looked, you have to look at all the things that I posted in the website, because those are some things that I know that teachers either need or they need to know. So there are some books in Amazon. I'm always trying to, like, with my superintendent friends, I would say, hey, what's the book that they're pushing right now? And then, like, Brenda, Dr. Poole was the one that shared with me the books that I posted. And then From Good to Great is one of my favorite books because, and I forgot the author. You need to know the author too, by the way. And the gist of that book is that we may be good, but we can be greater. And the favorite part of that book that I have is that in order, you need to have the right people in the right seat in the bus. That means that you're going to have to hire these teachers in the right place where they need to be. And so that's one of my favorite books. And so think about what professional books that you have read that you like and try to say why you liked it. Okay, those are some things that are tricky sometimes that they would ask. Hey, awesome job, girl. Awesome job there, Lorena. Well, I'm gonna go with Marissa, San Diego. I'll put you in a spot, but I'm just going to the line. Okay, Marissa, talk to us.
Hi, Doc. Good morning there. Hello, everyone. I'm Marissa, and I'm currently here in Bahrain. I'm here for 15 years already.
Okay.
I graduated Bachelor's of Secondary Education major in physics, and I earned my master's degree in educational management last December 2021. I have rich experience in teaching high school. Actually, I have taught for 13 years. But recently, I shifted to elementary education. I am teaching grade 2 math and science also. Um, Fortunately, I was able to earn my US license, New Mexico level 3, recently. And I think it's a blessing to have that in preparation for as an aspirant to teach in US. Mm, um, what I like about teaching the element with what I learned teaching with the difference from high school and elementary is that when I was teaching the high school seniors, I like the other teacher, I was firm, I was consistent. I'm into adulthood, work preparation for career. But when I shifted to elementary, um, I learned to establish love and care at the beginning, and then because of that, I also developed the love for the least, the lost, and the last in the class, and I volunteered to join the support group in our school where those who are having challenges and struggles they stay in the afternoon, and I tutor them. I develop some worksheets for them that are aligned to their capabilities. Um, I always felt like I'm drawn into teaching, although I rested for 2 years, entered the corporate world, but I think I'm not cut into office, so I went back to teaching. And why USA? I um, I think the opportunity for professional development is a big thing for me to learn there. Here I have co-teachers who are um, uh, from the US, and I saw their strategies. I want to learn. I want to learn how they do that, and I also want to share our own culture, the way we teach and how we handle kids as well, because I believe that teaching is also learning. And one thing also that I am proud of is that my superiors are happy with my organizational skills. I am a level 1 Google Suite uh, passer, and then I was also fortunate to be a proficient in MS Office, and I think this will be a good advantage in when you want to hire me. So that's it. Thank you.
You have lots of information, which is good. You just remember that you need to be a little briefer maybe, but congratulations on your new master's degree. I bet that felt good. And physics, that's going to be hard to find physics here. So you should have an easier job, like like Dr. Elvin. Science and math teachers are very rare in the US. The graduates here, instead of being in education, they go to medical field and other fields that pay a lot more. So that's why we're losing our math and science teachers. And we actually lose about the first 5 years of teaching, we lose our teachers to other profession. And especially in schools where they're having a hard time with that discipline, because sometimes the administrators do not support the teachers and they're losing a lot of their teachers. So that's why I feel like support is very important. And you said something about high school, 13 years, and that then you're teaching elementary. That's very confusing to us. Every time I hear this, I'm confused because in the US, that's never going to be allowed. If you do not teach in that, if you are not elementary, if you are elementary, you're not going to be teaching high school unless you have taken courses or you have taken praxis. That is very confusing to us as administrators here. So this is how it works. With your reciprocity, your licensure reciprocity, the Philippine licensure is going to transfer to the US licensure, right? License, right? And in order for you to transfer that, it has to be in a field that you have a degree in and the experience in. And then you have to be teaching at least 3 courses. So for example, if you're physics, if you're science, you're going to have at least 3 physics classes, 3 science classes that you're teaching in order for them to give it to you. And so that way, it's very important to focus on the experience that you have a matching degree and experience in. Okay. So it's good that you mentioned that you have these other experiences, but do an emphasis on that you have enough experience in the field, especially in the field that they're looking for, in the degree, in the position that you applied, right? But also show that you have the experience of that in that field and also the degree in that field. So yeah, but it makes you above and beyond because you did, you can do both. And as principals, they would say, okay, maybe I can place this teacher as this, but then what requirement is needed, in order for her to actually get a license in that area, because your degree is not in there, and then you're not teaching in the degree that you're in. And so that would be a question in their mind, how do I do this? So that's one question I'm writing myself and to get the information from Vanessa. And that's nice at level 3, the licensure from New Mexico. In some schools, they will take it as well, in most schools, I guess they take it as a plus. But when you're talking to some, like when I was talking to the Department of Education where I used to work, where I retired from, the bosses there are really frowning upon, applicants that are getting their license, for example, in New Mexico, because if they're not teaching in New Mexico, why are they getting their license there? Are they trying to go around something, like TOEFL? Some people are using it to get out of TOEFL. Like they are going to be, they're going to want to get out of taking TOEFL because they have the licensure in New Mexico. But wait a minute, when you go look at the Arkansas, and Mike, if you don't mind to do this, go to Arkansas Department of Education website and then search for licensure. And then I'm going to show them how it looks like and what it's needed. And then you can share if you don't mind. But this is what they're looking for. They're looking for you that if they have a place there where it says licensure if you are from international, country. And so in order for you to use that New Mexico, you'll have to pretend or lie that you are teaching in New Mexico. And that is a big no-no. Because there is a separate portion there that if you are coming from international country, these are the things that you need to do, and the TOEFL is one of them. Okay, so the only way that those teachers that are able to do that as a reciprocity coming from New Mexico, they're lied about it. Now, I don't want you to lie about it, okay? Because that is not a good thing. That is not a good way to start your teaching career here. But anyway, in some places they may have taken it, but not me. I do not think that is a good idea, because you have to be lying if you are going to be able to get away with that. And they will eventually find out, once you process your paper. So I would recommend, if you're dealing with Arkansas, because that's what I know, is that you don't do that. Okay, other states, I do not know the rules, but I know in Arkansas, I have more than 30 years of experience in Arkansas. So I know how they do it here. And so Mike, did you find it? It's Arkansas Department of Education, and then go to secondary, elementary and secondary thing. And then I will show everyone what are the requirements, because I want to show you where the international teacher requirement is. While you're doing that, I'm going to check on this chat, see what everybody's saying. Okay, permission to leave. I know that one. Ria, Doug, I'm Ria Larty. I go by the name LRJ on my phone. So, okay. Okay, LRJ, I'm going to talk to you in a few minutes. Thank you for the 6-2 and the day 1-3 policy. What does that mean, Bonito? What do you mean by 6-2 policy a day, 1-3 policy? What does that mean? What do you mean by that?
Actually, Doc, I am now adapting your strategy way back from the time we started this school year, and it was fun. But you can see actually, you can see actually the reactions of the students. It's a new policy by a teacher adapting to from another teacher is very actually good in making strategies at a time. So when the time I actually tried that to my students, they were actually confused about it. So I did try explaining how the policy will go actually, and they were able to understand it. So every time I will go inside another class, so you have a policy, a new policy. So they are now discussing the policy about. So they have all the time to prepare now when I get inside their classroom.
Okay, so it's not a policy, it's a strategy, right? It's a 10-2 strategy, okay? 10 minutes, 2-minute talk, which is really good. So are they using that? So they're pretty much chunking their hour or whatever in order to chunks of 10 minutes in order for them to pause and process the information. So I'm so proud of you. That is so good that you're using that in your school. So you have a leadership position right now. You actually
Actually, no, Doc. I am a one teacher teaching grade 10 for social sciences.
okay. So you're just asking your peers if they're using 10-2 strategy.
Yes, also I was able to explain that during our last session, if we could actually adapt that through our social studies strategy to include the 6-country policy. Since we have this new the 3 days policy now in the social studies, it's actually now we are now beginning to start the 3 days policy for synchronous by next week. So
okay.
I did explain to them about the policy and they find it interesting.
Okay.
Actually, our head teacher, I was able to speak with our head teacher now to cascade about that policy. Thank you so much, Doc.
Okay, well, just call it strategy though, okay? Don't call it a policy, okay? And it's here it's 10-2. You may have done a variation, which is okay, but it's 10-2 for above kindergarten. And for 10 minutes, the teacher will talk or teach. And then 2 minutes, you have to do an activity where the students are able to respond or process the information, talk to someone or, share. But then the kindergarten and below is going to be 5-1. 5 minutes, the teacher talks, and in 1 minute, you give it to them and talk about it or process it. What do you think about this? Or, whatever. And so think, pair, share is always a good strategy to go with it. But anyway, thank you so much for the use of that. It's always nice to see that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
And who else? I think that's all that I have. Okay. So did you find it, Mike? I'm giving you a hard assignment.
Yeah, I'm already now in the
if you don't mind to
Arkansas
share-
government. Okay.
Yeah, if you share that with us, then I would like to show everyone what are the things that you need. Okay, there you go. See, that's Secretary Key in that picture there. That's the one that's the boss, the boss of the Arkansas Department of Education, my former boss. Okay, so if you type somewhere, there should be a search, find a search right there in the search there, and put licensure. Yeah, type licensure. I don't mean to be bossy to you, Mike. My husband said, yeah, you are bossy. But anyhow, educator licensure is what you need. I'm gonna have to use my glasses because, okay. Then you go here under, nope, speak to advisor, no, keep going down, please. Okay, adding to a license, licensure, assessments, nope. Nope, keep going. I think it's on the bottom. I have the lifetime teaching license. Okay, reciprocity. You need to go on there's reciprocity here. Right there, next to lifetime teaching license. Up more, right there in the middle. Left, right there in the bottom left. Reciprocity, adding to a license.
Circle,
Reciprocity.
The circle one.
The circle, the white circled one, Mike. Up, one up, above. Yep, right there, reciprocity.
This one.
Yep. If you click on that, please. Yep. That's what you need to do is what is licensure reciprocity? Can you make it bigger or wider or top, fatter? You have a marble. What happened?
Have you seen it, Doc?
The ad marvel is on what happened to our licensure. You must have hit something by accident.
Reciprocity.
Doc?
Yes.
Yeah, while waiting for Sir Mike, then can I ask the question about
Yeah,
that
go ahead.
thing that I opened up about? So
Yeah.
would you recommend not telling about the license anymore during the introduction? Because
You can still say that, but I'm just giving you the information that could be attached to that in Arkansas. The other states may think that that's a good thing, but I just want to tell you the other perspective of that. But I'm talking about the folks from the Department of Education who gives the licensure. That's their perspective. I'm not saying that the school would share that perspective. This is from the folks that are doing the leading of the state. That's how they feel, but they're not going to be in the interview. they're gonna be the one
Because I took the
approving your
advantage.
license or not. They are the ones, they said they really frown upon it. That's are the words they used. But if you have met all the requirements, that's why I wanted to show you the requirements. I don't know what's going on, Mike. Because then you can see what are the things that you need in order for you to
The
get the
requirements.
license. Yeah, you got the requirements. What's the deal with the Marvel?
Yeah, this is only the steps, Doc, of the reciprocity.
Sir Mike, we're seeing only your
We only see
desktop
Marvel,
part.
Mike. We do not see your screen with the information. We only see Marvel. You just show us that you're into Marvel. I like the Marvel movies. Anyway. Yeah, just
sorry for that. I'm using two monitors.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, Doc.
No,
Let me see it now.
Okay, that's yeah, there you go. You have to have a copy of your current or expired out-of-state license. Okay, there you go. Okay, there you go. Licensure by reciprocity. Keep going down, keep going down. Yep. You have to have the background check, and you can't do that until you get here. So which means that you cannot really get an Arkansas reciprocity until you get to Arkansas. That's one of the states that do not let you do it from abroad. Okay, and then online application, which is cost you $75, of course, your official transcripts, and that's gonna be really your SPANTRAM, your FCE, your foreign credential evaluation, FCE, and then you copy of your expired or or current license, and then your content area testing, that's your praxis. If for the out-of-state license, they might be asking you for praxis test. Documentation of 3 years of licensed teaching experience, which means that if you have less than 3 years of experience, don't even apply yet, because the visa is always requiring 3 years or more of experience. Okay, so if you know of anyone and they're a very new teacher, they don't have the 3 years, they need to wait. Okay, so they would not be approved with their visa. Verification of teaching form, that is a form that you click and then you have somebody fill it out with you. And the National Board Professional Teaching, that only applies to here in the US. I am National Board certified, which means that I can pretty much teach with anywhere in the United States. I think 31 out of the 50 would honor it. I don't have to do anything else. I'll just show them that I'm National Board certified, and then I can teach. So that's a hard thing to do, but you can apply for it once you have been here at least 3 years. Once you have submitted it, then they will evaluate it, and after 2 weeks you will know what it is. Okay, so provisional license, that's you're gonna have to take like Arkansas history if you teach elementary and if you teach social studies. That is a requirement. Okay, keep going, Mike. And then required to take, hang on, there's early childhood, elementary education, middle school, middle childhood social studies, and secondary social studies. So pretty much your elementary K, I guess K6, and then your if you teach social studies above the elementary, you will have to. Okay, and here's the praxis exams if you have to take one. There's a link to that. And then there it is on the bottom. What additional items will I need if I am an educator from out of the country? Okay, the transcript evaluation, and then which means your FCE there, your foreign credential service. If not a US citizen, your legal documentation to work in the US, which is your visa, and documentation of successful completion of your TOEFL. See the TOEFL is there. And documentation of successful completion of ADA approved content area assessment must be submitted for the standard license. So if you are teaching in a subject that's not, you're not have experience in, you have to take that praxis, then you have to include the result of the praxis here. But notice the TOEFL is listed. So if folks are okay, thank you, Mike. I think we're done with it. So if you are teaching, if you are saying that you are going to use the the State of Mexico teaching license, then you're actually not going down below, right? because you're actually gonna pretend like you are here in the US, because you're not gonna go like you came from another country. You know what I mean? So that's why I would not recommend you doing that in Arkansas. But I do not know about other states, because other states might not even require TOEFL. Arkansas is just one of the strictest states on the licensure. So we have folks, because we have this shortage, we actually have been taking folks that are if they have the 4-year degree and they want to go into education, they can go and teach, but we give them like they call them masters, masters in teaching, master of the arts in teaching, because they are actually like given Saturday classes and some online classes, and they're actually teaching as a form of their student teaching. That's considered a student teaching. So they're actually kind of baptism by fire. They're learning, they might not learn more, or they might not know more about what to do really, but because they have their 4-year degree, they have an alternative licensure offered here, and ALP. And so anyway, but we still don't get very many of that. I know of one, a veterinarian friend of mine, and she was into small animals. She just got so tired of doing that, but she's always liked teaching science. So she actually applied in our science high school. She taught our science high school, and that's the most fun class. When I observed her, I didn't want to leave, because she was showing them like x-rays of actual animals, when that she had treated, and the kids really love it. I loved it. It's just to see and talking about the body parts, for example, of these animals and all this, but she's actually using actual animals that she had seen. And I thought that was really cool. So if you are, so we actually have an advantage whenever we are having like accountants coming to education, and they're so good in math, and they're sharing their skills in that area and teaching our students. So I think there's an advantage that some people would kind of frown on that. We're like, well, they stay in their lane kind of type thing. But to me, it's like they have a lot of things they bring into our profession if they are serious about it, right? But anyway, so now they're saying that education is now being outsourced to the Philippines, and we are now outsourcing it. And so, but we have, the nice thing is, we have very good reputation as international teachers, as Filipino teachers. We have the best reputation. The reputation is you work hard. Reputation is you're patient with kids and all that. And the nurses, same thing, very hardworking. There's 45 minutes from me, which is where my sister lives. She's a teacher also. They had hired 30 nurses. And what they did was, there's a new apartment building, and the hospital actually rented the whole thing. So all of them are in one apartment building. And that would be so cool to have teachers like that. That's my dream, is that finding an apartment complex that all of the teachers will stay in that complex. Like, for example, Little Rock would be there's a lot of really nice apartments in Little Rock. If we can talk to someone, and I'm talking to Little Rock right now, I'm talking to their HR, their human resources person, and they have more than 100, I think 180 still open positions right now, and this is already September. And so they are really struggling. And that's why I keep begging them, like, I just give you the list. You need to go through that list, and try to interview folks. So if they have set up interview with you, Erwin, then that's a good sign. That means they're looking at others as well. They got my list. So they are taking it seriously. So that's good. All right. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Mike, for getting that for us. Miss October, I know I've talked to you before, because I know I liked your name. Do you have your camera on? Yeah, there she is. Yeah, I've talked to you before. So tell us, is there anything that you have gained from past meetings that you want to share with the new ones?
I'm actually, and I learned a lot. Like, it's our time will be consumed if I'm gonna reiterate all those things that I learned from you and from the page. I keep reading and try to use it in my daily.
Okay, well, good. Which particular thing did you use?
I'm really focusing on the classroom management, since everything is limited here when it comes to handling my classes here in Vietnam, because of course their culture and their law. So
right.
Just gonna say that you just have to be very careful. There's a thin line, because everything is set on it. So you just have to be careful and choose which is more acceptable. accessible to them.
Well, that's good that you're able to see something you can use.
Since I am handling here kindergarten, even if I'm a graduate in elementary education, so but there's some things there that you could use. You know, it's very nice that even if I'm preparing myself to teach there actually. So what I did is try to study, yes, here as a practice.
That's good. Thank you. That is always good to hear that somebody said, if you're taking one thing from it, I'm happy because
It's really nice, and you can try the students like, you know, you do being a teacher, being a monotonous to your lessons is quite boring, right? And kids knew that, and then they're always as you showed up on the doors, like everyone's eyes is like, what do we do to the teacher? I was like, okay, relax, calm down, go to your seats. So it's really nice. It's very accomplishing as a teacher. It's not about the money. Yeah, actually we need that, but seeing their faces, the parents loves it. The kids, you know, the best advertisement is kids. The parents to the administrators. That's where you boost up your confidence.
Yeah, good point there. Yeah, good point there, because you know what, you know how you know if the kids love you is during parent teacher conference, that the good teachers are really enjoying that. Like that should be one of your most favorite day of the year when you have parent teacher conference, because that is the feedback that you got from the parents about what the child tells you. I used to joke to my parents because I had really good relationship with them. I would say, you know what, if you promise to believe half of what your children say to you, I will do the same. That was a joke, but you can always tell what they would say, things like, oh, this is what my teacher did, whatever, and they would know what you did, the fun things that you did. And I had some neighbors before, you know, some local teachers that would have the hardest time during parent teacher conference because they're hateful with the kids. And of course, the parents are there very defensive and very mean to them because the kids kind of hate or don't like them. And so then the parents are here to like, not to be as a partner in education, but like, I'm going to get you, you know, and you don't want that. You don't want to be in the other end of that, you know, you don't love my child. So, you know, I don't love you because you don't love my child, you know, and I've always acted like these kids are my biological kids. This is how I would treat Stephanie and Jet. That's how
we always put it in our mind that these learners, these babies inside of you is someone's beloved to their families. We have to deal with that.
Very good. Yeah. Because you know what?
Always.
Yeah. Because you know what? They sent us their best.
Yes.
That's the best they have. And that's who they sent to us. So you're going to have to, you know, to pretend. And I always say this, pretend like they are there invisible next to their child. So you have to
sometimes the parents said, teacher, I know my kids is kind of like, no. Kids learn their own pacing. Just wait for it. Okay. Wait for it. And because sometimes parents are quite aggressive. But like, did you learn this? I was like, come on, mommy, relax. Because kids are different. Okay. Some are quite advanced, some are quite slow, but you don't know. They are, the no two people are different, and especially to the kids. Some are fast, some are quite slow, some are still waiting for the development. So
right.
Okay. And then, yeah, that's it. Sometimes like it's not about we've been here in this industry for quite many years, and always like there's no specific format in teaching kids, but I think it really, our techniques and strategies will really depends on kids' development and kids' preparations to learn, but the strategies and techniques will really help us. At least you are familiar with what to do. We're going to do with this, what's the differentiation inside the classroom. And since I'm teaching kindergarten, so I'm going to revise the materials that suited for their level too.
Right. Good for you.
Very good. Flexible thinking, you know, because it's not about like, I'm an elementary educator in Philippines, 10 years in public school teachers, teaching multi-grade, engaging also. I try not to teach out to tell my coaching experience in Philippines, but I'm into science quiz coaches, and I'm coaching journalism as well, and also in voice helping.
Make sure you mention, make sure you mention those, because those will help you. By the way, this is what I've noticed. Okay, those teachers that are already abroad, I think you should have a little advantage, because for one thing, you've already been speaking English a lot every day.
Every day.
Yeah, you've already been dealing with diverse students. So that's another thing. And then the cultural experiences that you can share with the American students, because you have been to this different culture, you need to say that I feel like I have something to offer because I have learned so much about the cultures, because then I could share. While I'm also learning about the American culture, I'm also able to share the culture of the Philippines and whatever countries that you've been. So you need to focus on that. You need to include that somehow in the introduction.
Yeah. Actually, I'm still on contract with my school now, so I'm gonna finish my next year. So I'm still not setting any aside from me, of course, because I don't know, maybe one of these days they're gonna call me, or if there's a
somewhere along the line, you'll have to make a decision of which one. I don't know, I think we lost her. But another thing that I was going to say is that with parents, back to the parent teacher conference, you have to also remember that parents will think that their child's the best. They might not be the best, but they will always think that a bunch of the parents will think that their child is gifted. Okay, if they're not very aware of the abilities of their children, they might think that, oh, my child is gifted. My child is the smartest kid in class. Because especially if they've not been involved much, if they're not special ed, the special ed parents, of course, they will know because they're part of the IEP plan, right? And so they have to know. But then you also have 504 plan here. 504 is a law, it's a federal law here that is like a modification that you have to make for students that are not special ed, but they may have other things going on, like medical, like somebody that is diabetic, or some other things that they are going on, and they have to have special modification, and they have to have a 504 plan, and you have to follow that 504 plan. So whenever you're asked about differentiation, that's another piece that they will ask you. How do you differentiate in your classroom? So you need to make sure that you mention about how you're gonna be working with a special ed teacher, for example, and with mainstreaming here, where they're putting the special ed kids in your classroom, and you only would reach out to the special ed teachers if you need them as support. But they're really wanting to put them in social studies and science. They're trying to mainstream those students in your classroom. And so you might want to mention on how you will do that. How do you support? You need to make sure that you say something about, I will follow the IEP plan. I will follow the 504 plan. If I have dyslexic kids, most of the schools here also have dyslexia specialists. If they don't have a dyslexia specialist in the school, they'll have one in the co-op. And the co-op is an educational cooperative. There's 15 in Arkansas. And the co-ops is where, we did a training from the state level, and we trained the specialists. So they would have the specialists in the co-ops. And then, so the co-ops would have so many member schools. Like in my co-op here in the North Central Arkansas, I am located like close to Missouri. North Central Arkansas have 22 schools. So 22 schools that are covered by that co-op. So all these 22 schools would go get their PDs from the North Central co-op, which is about 45 minutes from me. And so anyway, so that's what you need to do in differentiation. You need to think about, and also don't forget about your gifted, because at a Common Core is actually not doing a very comprehensive job of addressing our gifted kids. So we really need to do a better job of making sure that we do enrichments, that these are our early finishers. And that's why I just posted something about early finisher activities. They are going to be the ones that are finished first. So you need to plan on what do they do? Are they just going to be bored to death? No, you put learning stations where they can go to, for example, or you have I always had a publishing center that they could write poems, or they could write, they can write stories, and I have an author's chair that they could sit down and oh, I wrote something I want to share, and then everybody will comment or whatever. But so my class was always like evolving like that, different things that happen because I have so many different stations that I set up to match their interests. And so, and then for example, writing essays, they will be the first one done. And so the first two done, they would say, okay, I want you to peer. I would always give them a rubric, right? The rubric that matches what the state, uses in order for the big test at the end of the year. So I would use that, and I would give it to them. And then the two students that are finished first, they pair up for peer editing. So my rubric has self-editing, so they have to do that first. So they have to do checking there, make sure, did I do this? Did I capitalize? Did I do this? You know, all the things there. And then after that, the first two would actually go to the corner of the room or wherever. I have bean bags too, so they're very comfortable. They love being in the bean bags. And then they would be peer editing. So they would switch papers. Okay, and they would look and make a comment. There's a place there for comment. You know, you might want to, you know, I teach them about sandwich method, where this as they grow. I love this, that you did this, but you might want to improve this part right here, like the content, or you did not put in transitions or whatever in every part of every paragraph. You forgot to put transitions, and then do another glow comment, another praise. So a praise, a challenge, and another praise. Okay, so I taught my kids that. The first month of the school, I taught them that. I actually modeled that I would actually write an essay, whatever my prompt is, I would actually write and answer it with my essay and actually read my essays to them. And this is how I would answer this. This is my exemplar. And when I have a substitute, I still wrote my essay and the substitute will read it to them. This is Miss McCullough's example. And then of course they know that they cannot just copy my answers. Your answer would have to be different because it's yours. It's your thinking, not my teacher, the teacher's thinking. And so anyway, the exemplar is really important. And so then when the third person gets finished, the fourth person, they do the same until everyone will end up doing the peer editing. And then I'm the third one. So then I'm the teacher, you know, the checker there, but they have already been seeing it themselves. They have actually been seeing it with a partner and then me. And so they have those many chances to look for things that have a checklist that they're going to go check. Okay, did you capitalize? Did you put end mark? Did you vary the beginning of your sentences? Did you start the same way? Make sure that you vary it. Did you have different types of sentences? Do you have simple, complex, compound sentences? Do you have all the three different end marks, the exclamatory sentence, your interrogative sentence, your what's the other one with a period? Statements or
declarative sentence.
Declarative, yeah, declarative sentence. So you have all those three. Those are the things I'm just telling you about writing. So I know some of you are science, but by the way, everybody should be a literacy or reading teacher. So in your science, you will be having them write during your lab activity. So make sure, in order for you to support your school to have a good score in the US, make sure that they use complete sentences. Do not let them get away with no, capitalization. Don't let them get away with no end marks. So even in science, you need to tell them that this is because it takes everyone to help the school. And if everyone reinforces that, I always encourage my kids to write, like, stretch your sentences. If you have like a really simple sentence with 5 words, are you like 5-year-old? I would like challenge them to like have a stretch sentence, and the stretch sentence would have some adjective there, should have some adverb there, maybe a prepositional phrase there. So they're actually answering the who, what, where, when, and how, if whatever they could in that sentence. If they can do that, then it's a very good $1 million sentence instead of a $1 sentence. I would kind of, you would do things like that. But in math also, for math folks, you have them do an error analysis. I was a math specialist before I was a literacy specialist, so my brain's confused. But I was always having them do an error analysis. You have this paper back. Now I want you to analyze what steps you did that you may have made a mistake on. So they have to write this in sentences. Okay, so paragraph per question, another paragraph, you explain the next one. But that's also good because when they're writing, they're processing. So they're actually in their brain, they're actually trying to recall, okay, what did I do? What's the difference? Whatever. Sometimes I have them to pair up with a partner. And by the way, students are better teachers than teachers. They can teach more with each other, peer, than us. Research has actually found this, that it is so powerful to have them have a peer-to-peer tutoring than having us, because they actually seem to get more from their own peers than from us. They may tune us out, but they will not tune out their friends. And I have in the high school, for example, they want to work with their friends. So I always want to make sure that that's a reward. You can work with your friends if you do this. You know, so make it as a reward, because they love to sit with their friends and all that. I told the new teachers here, and I said, do not let them just sit with their friends and get in trouble with their friends. No, you know, split them up, you know, and all this, and have a clipboard and have a sitting arrangement per period. And then you have the students there. For example, in a lab class, you have the tables and who are there, whatever. So all you have to do is just look and see who's missing. You don't have to call the name like Maria, John, whatever. Oh my goodness. That would be like, if I'm observing you, that's like an F, because you're wasting time. That's a time waster. So when they first come in, I mean, you should be by the door greeting them. And I'm very visual. So I always say, oh, I love your earrings. Oh my goodness, look at this new shoes. You know, I would say that, and I'm very authentic about it. I'm not just making it up. If I really don't like it, I'm not going to say I like it. Okay. But they love that. That's one way that you could actually bond with them, because a bunch of your students actually would want that validation from you. And then you already had that emotional deposit there. So when you have to do an emotional withdrawal by getting them in trouble, then you already have the deposit. So it's kind of even out. Okay. They're not going to go home and say, you know what, my teacher just picked on me. You know, so when they come in, then you have the do now. So if you're very organized and do now activities, then it's already on the board or it's already on the screen. And they know you have trained them the first week or whenever, first month, that when you first come in, the moment you step in my room, zip. That means your brain is ready to learn. Okay, when they start talking, okay, let's go back again. Let's line up again. I want you to line up again and show me how you come in my room. I know high school hates that. But Ms. McCullough, you treat us like elementary. And I said, I don't care. You know, I want you to behave like you should. And so anyway, I would actually practice that. And then the thing is, when you go on day off, like Labor Day, we just had a weekend, a 3-day weekend, they'll come back to your classroom and they don't know the rules again. So you have to pretty much like, oh, we forgot the protocol now. So you come in my room, you go in, you have the thing already. If I have papers that they have to do, I already put that in their desk, on their desk, so that they can do it. They know immediately. The moment you come in, boom, that's 5-minute thing you have to do. And while they're doing that, I'm doing my little seating chart quickly. And here you have to put in the computer, you mark it, I can mark it later. But right now I'm just gonna mark on who's not here. And then I wanna make sure I go and monitor what they're doing. Because sometimes you see kids that have not even started. You know, it's 2 minutes already and I'm like, they have not started. They're just over there, you know, doing whatever. And so I am making sure that I would, oh my goodness, look at so-and-so. Oh my gosh, it's halfway done. You know, this is my top one, you know, let me look for my top 2, you know, I would always like validate them like we do our kids, you know. And so anyway, this got to be the winner over here. You know, I would put a star on it. I put 2 stars the next time I go around. I mean, little things like that. Like I'm actually, whenever, a lot of times when they're doing something, I'm actually already assessing it. And I will just mark it like a star or a heart. The other day I went to a 2nd grade, one of our international teachers, 2nd grade. And I just put a heart there because the student they were doing a complete sentence. So the student did that. And I just put a heart in each end, a heart in the beginning and a heart in the end. And this kid just beamed. Like, can I have a heart? Can I have more hearts? You know, when I went around, that is as simple as that. You know, you can just put something there to validate them, saying you are doing a good job. You know, so then the do now, after you do now, you collect it, make sure I always read it. If it's an essay or if it's just not short essay, if it's paragraph, like 3-4 sentences that I'm wanting, I want to know, I want to read it because that will tell me what the child is thinking and what the children need. So maybe they need a short lesson needed on capitalization. So tomorrow I'm going to show them, you know, that I want you to circle all of your beginning of your sentences. I want you to circle the end, make sure you have the beginning and the end back. You know, I want you to do that. And later on, we're going to wean you by not having circle, because of course, when we do the big test, you're not going to have all these circles in there. So you wean them off of it. So I want you to pretend that you're circling your beginning and you're circling the end. Pretend that you do that. And another day you might want to do, okay, my students are really using really simple words. They need to have bigger words. You know, the $1 million words or $1,000 words. You know, you want them to have these big old words instead of just like simple. 1 syllable, like nice, pretty. You want to say beautiful. You want to say amazing, fabulous. You know, you want to use those words that are multisyllabic. more than 2 syllables. So you want to encourage them to do that. And then the other one that would be a good one to do is that make sure that they have transition. So every paragraph, first of all, comma, and you say that, and then next, comma, okay, or then, any of that, you want to have that in every paragraph. And in the end, in conclusion, comma, and you do that. And I always look for like, do they have a beginning and do they have a middle and they have an end of their essay? That's at the end, of course. But you build that coming from your bell ringers for 5 minutes, and then you just build from that. Oh, last week we finished this. We had 3 or 4 sentences. This time I'm going to challenge you to do 5. Okay, I know some of you really reached it, and I have motivational chart in my room, and I think that's really powerful. You have motivational chart, a chart in your room. You put all the names down, and then I even have another chart with the teams, because I have in teams monthly. I change the monthly, and they get to name their teams. And anyway, for the individual chart, I would actually put a sticker. I don't care if it's high school; they liked it too. And then when they reach that big line, which is 5, they get to have something in my big treasure box. And I just go to yard sales or something cheap, and I would just like fill it up with things like pens and pencils, things that they like. And then sometimes if you don't want to spend money, you could also do free homework. If they reach this one, you have free homework night. So different things. Some of them really like to play outside or to work outside. So they would say, okay, the whole class, for example, when you do a whole class thing, when we spell the word pizza, so you're going to do a capital, all capital, this line the first time, then a P, and then the capital I. When you spell that pizza in the week or whenever you spell it, we're going to have a pizza party. My husband was so good about donating pizzas for us. But anyway, but then later on, when they found out that more than half of the America's children, really in Arkansas, were obese. So we can no longer give food out as a reward. Right now, I don't know now, but I know this is when I was teaching back, 20 years ago. And so, they now like Copico candy. Oh my gosh, Maria is like giving them like gold. It's like, oh, we want the Copico candy, the coffee candy or the cappuccino candy. They would buy it like 5-10 packs at a time, and they would be like having them taste it, and then they really like, especially high school for some reason, they really like the taste of the coffee. And so it's special because it came from the Philippines, that it came from your teacher's country. And that's like, oh, and then so now we have so there was Maria, and then the other schools, the other international teacher that just arrived is teaching the kids that she had last year. So she said, do you have Copico candy like Miss Incorporada? They would ask those. So anyway, but you have to always talk to your principal. Is it okay if I do this? I always talk to my principal, because I don't want to get in trouble, because you don't know the rules of every school. They have different things that they're into. Some schools some principals that are really big into health, they're not going to want you to give away candy, So on homework part, research has shown that homework only really helps much of the older kids, the elementary kids. They said it's not as helpful. They're actually better off just doing it in a class or doing it tutoring or whatever. But you have to limit it. Like, for example, a second grader, 2, you just add a 0, so 20 minutes. You assign them something that should only be 20 minutes. A third grader, 30 minutes. Okay, so you have to remember high school then, 6th, 7th, 70 minutes, 80 minutes. And so anyway, so if you do that, then you're not going to be over assigning homework. And I also got together with my team. Like, for example, if I was literacy, I was English and reading, I talked to my science and my math, colleagues, and say, hey, how much homework are you giving? Because you don't want these kids to have 1 million homework in one night. So we can kind of talk about it in lounge and say, hey, you know what? I have a big homework that I'm going to give on Monday night. Okay, so I'll just do mine on Tuesday. And in Wednesday here in America, especially in the Bible Belt where we are, they have church on Wednesday night, which means, and before church, they have like a class, like a Bible class for the kids. And my kids were so active on it. Like I used to teach it, But so to be considerate of their time, because when they get off from school, they come home, have their snacks, and then in a few minutes, they have to go to the church, and then they have to stay late for the service. So I never gave homework on Wednesday night. So Wednesday night was the break that I gave them. And then Friday night is a big game. All of the US, the Friday night game is a big one. Like everybody in the community would watch this Friday night game, against your rival school or whatever. So on Friday night, I don't give them homework either, because I want them to enjoy their time with their families. And so sometimes I'd make it a punishment. You've been goofing off all week long. You might end up with a homework on Friday night. They don't want that because they don't want homework on weekends. And then the accountability piece for them to do it is by their team. So team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4. Team 1, you have one person that did not do their homework. And so that is an accountability piece. They don't get their reward on their sticker. You lost it because one of you, and I don't want to embarrass somebody, I will not name the names, one of you did not. So you only have 75% with homework, not 100%. So second group, you got this because 100%, yay. Let's give them a hand, validate them. Oh, now clap, I don't care, it's high school or whatever, clap different ways because they love it. I do that in my workshop for teachers. Just validate anybody that's presenting. Let's give a hand, that was really good, right? Okay, everybody, clap your hands. That is establishing the culture for learning. That's actually one of the standards here, that you are gonna be graded when the principal observes you. How do you establish a culture for learning? The students are validating each other, that this is a positive thing. They're cheering for each other. They're not booing each other. They're like actually wanting to lift them up, not to put them down. Because when I'm observing classrooms, I would look for a positive learning environment. And how do I know that? The kids are smiling, the teacher's smiling, the teacher's joking, the kids are responding to it positively. They're not really abusing, like just goofing and be off task. No, it's related to the topic, and they're so relaxed. They're not afraid of the teacher, and they're actually saying thank you to each other. And it's one thing that I have said to the teachers: don't forget to say thank you and please. In the Philippines, we're so used to just tell our kids because they're so responsive, do this, do that, whatever. That sounds so bossy. Nobody died and made us boss. I tell my husband that. But anyway, don't boss them around, and they would respond negatively. That sounds bossy. They might tell you that. That sounds really bossy, because it's an authoritative leadership. Authoritative leadership is like a dictator. A dictator, that leadership style never works. It doesn't work in a classroom. It doesn't work as a principal, superintendent. It does not work. So a collaborative leadership style would be better. Everybody's got a voice. Everybody can use an input, and everybody's important. And that's the kind of leadership that I always strive for. When I was administrator, I always strive for that. Like, I want the opinion of this group. I want the opinion of this group, because my opinion is not the only one that matters. It is all of us. It takes a village. And so in your classroom, that might be something that you want to achieve, that you are kind, you're caring, you know what you're doing, but you also expect that the students are also respecting each other. You're setting that because they're observing you. What you're doing, that's what they're going to emulate. And if you feel mean to the kids, they're like being bullied to the kids, guess what? Your students are going to be bullying each other as well. So sometimes how your students are behaving is actually a reflection of what the classroom environment is. I can always tell when it's a happy classroom, when the kids are actually learning a lot and they're respecting each other. It's very obvious to me when I first come in. That's why I love going to I'm biased on this, but I love going to my sister's classroom, because her classroom makes me happy. She has a very cozy classroom. She had like little chairs there to sit down, like a leather chair or whatever. And they were over there for, like that's one of her learning station. And she had a little dining table there where they would set up and do their work together. And she would, did cozy, really cozy, bean bags for them to read like you would be in a bookstore, things like that. But the classroom feels like this is home, and we could collaborate. And when they would, when somebody really excels, she would call them a mentor. Okay, so you are a mentor now. So you're gonna be the mentor. They love to be the mentor. You know why? Because on Friday, she would bring and she also okayed this, but the principal, she had it okay. She would bring like a slow cooker, and she would have Filipino foods in there. And she would feed, and she asked the parents if it's okay to do this. But anyway, so she sent notes. But anyway, she would cook for the mentors. So the mentors get to bond with her. And so everybody wants to be a mentor, like, oh, I want to be a mentor, whatever, because it's so special when you're a mentor. And then a mentee, I'm a mentee now, but I want to do my best so that I become a mentor. Okay, so but you can call that whatever in your classroom, but just showing them that I value you and I expect you to help each other, because that's why 3 before me works. You ask 3 people before me. Because when they asked me, I said, okay, did you ask, who are the 3 that you asked already? Oh, I forgot. I'm like, okay, you have to ask 3 people before you ask me. Okay, just like whenever whatever I was administrator, I would say, if you have a problem, I want you to come with solution, because we're going to talk about that solution together. Okay, so be thinking about solution when you come to me. And so that really helps, because they have to think about scenarios. Like, okay, this is what I want to happen. And that's what we would talk about. So what does the solution look like to you? Same thing with students. When they have problem, I would take them outside. I would never embarrass them in front of the class. I would pull them, I would assign some independent work with the rest, but then I'd pull them right outside the door. And with the door closed while I'm watching the others, with the glass, I would talk to them. So what is your plan? So what's going on? What is your plan? That's a really common question I ask them. What's your plan? Okay, this is what's going on. So tell me your plan. How do we solve this? And all this. So they would have to tell me, like, you are giving the work back to them. You're not solving their problem. You have them solve their problem. And same thing with their in their group when they assign a topic. Well, we cannot decide because so and so is always like wanting his work. He wants what he wants to be done. Well, you always have. I have this beginning of the year. I would give them this popsicle stick, right? And this popsicle stick would have they get to draw on it. They put their names on it, but then they get to draw a circle, a square, a triangle, or a squiggly, like a squiggle. And then I don't tell them why. So I just give that to them and they draw it. And then I tell them what it means. Okay. If you are a square, you want to be a leader. You can only have 1 square per group. If you have 2 squares, they're gonna butt heads. You're not gonna have a good team. Okay. So these are the strong personality in your class. And then the triangle, they're the ones that like, kind of like they want to be a leader, but they want everybody to have a role. How you have 3 points, that everybody needs to have a role, like fairness, all these things, but they're not as bossy as the square. So the square and the triangle can actually get along. Usually the triangle may be the assistant leader. Okay. And the circle, that is me. You want to please everybody. You want everybody to be happy. Okay, you both parties need to be happy. All that, everybody, you need to have a circle in every team, because you need somebody to say, oh, have you looked at it this way? Have you looked at it this way? And all that, because you want people to be happy. The squiggly are your disorganized kids. And I've done this at adults, and they're like, oh my God, that's so true. This kid's desk would be so messy. A bunch of our ADD kids will be squiggly. They'll just do squiggly. There's nothing, no organization whatsoever. But they're also at the same time the creative ones. They're gonna think outside the box, but they might not be as organized as you want them to be. And so anyway, so when I group them, so I have this little cup with all their popsicle sticks. So I would just pull it and I'm like, okay, group 1, you have this. And then I make sure that all the personalities are represented. I just make sure that I don't have 2 squares. Don't put 2 squares in a group. Have you ever heard of this before? I am not doing the 10-2, guys. I'm seeing your faces. But I want you to talk though. So have you done any personality thing or test or anything that you've done? Because that is one of the personality tests that you do. Just like you can do a multiple intelligences or MI test, and it's online. And I think I put a link in the Facebook group, and then you can have them take a test. And I took a test there. I think I showed you what mine is. In high school, especially, they love doing that. They want to know, you want to know what they like. Like one year, I had so many musical intelligent kids. They're really into music. So I made sure that when we have, and I did that all the time anyway, that when they are doing anything that's quiet activity, like the writing, I play music. So funny. In these international teachers here, they are on the other side of the state where the music is so different, because in ours, with the Caucasian, with the white culture in where I am, it's very different music, a lot of country music and so on. And then the African-American kids out in the Delta where they're teaching, oh my God, they have all this, you know, really wrapped things and all that, but you have to make sure it's a clean version, because there is the bad version and you have to put the clean version of it, because then you have bad words in it. Okay, and of course I always have to listen to everything, pre-watch everything, pre-listen to everything before you present it, because you might end up showing things that you're not supposed to show. You know, one of my neighboring teachers had actually shown, it was one thing to share about the Philippines, because they, you know, social studies, and they were doing World War II, talking about Philippines, and he just got a Philippine video, did not pre-watched it, and it was about our cultural minorities where they were naked. They have their little. So I'm like, and then he came to me and said, Merlina, I said, what? I did not know you got naked people in your country. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so he was explaining to me that it was this you know, our cultural minorities that have this. And I'm like, yeah, we do. And he said, well, don't you preview I always preview everything that I'm showing my kids, because I don't want, you know, somebody in America actually had shown something with their students that was a personal video that's not a good personal video, and showing the students. She had to like go in front of the screen and had to cover it. She got fired. You know, can you imagine parents calling? You know, that's ridiculous. And also, like, another teacher was actually using iCloud, and she was doing some lessons out in iCloud. And when she was, you know, where you can actually drop everything to your Apple iPad, the kids get it. And then some of her personal things were in her iCloud. So lesson to that is be careful about your iCloud, mixing your personal and your professional things in it. Because there might be some things you don't want your kids to see. I don't know why people would ever do that, but anyway, but not me. But anyway, but little things like that. What are the things that you got from that? What are the, let's process this. Sonia, what are the things that you picked up from that?
I was very interested, ma'am, because you were talking about the personality tests, especially the high school students. They love it. And I would really like to employ it in my class too, because I haven't experienced giving personal tests to students. And it seems to be very interesting. Like, if I'm going to employ it in journalism class or in my English, literature classes, because I also teach literature.
I'll find the original source of that. I'll try to post it on the Facebook. I'm gonna make me a note.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll make a note. My sister, I always have to give credit where credit is due. She actually showed me that. And so I said, oh, that's a really good idea. And there are so many personality tests out there that you can do in order to know your kids. And I usually gave this like the first 2 weeks of the year, because then you get to know more of your kids. You know, and I always made sure that with parents, I made sure that I send them a note. Like in our school, one of the schools that I taught in, they actually gave us the kids list, the last week of school, the last 2 weeks of school, so we know who our kids next year is. And the nice thing about it is that I look for them in the year before. For example, I was teaching 4th grade. I would go to the 3rd grade class. I would go look for them, and I would take a picture of them so that I could already use it on my bulletin board. And then at the same time, I also went to the office and I got the addresses of all the students. And in the summer, I send them a postcard saying, I'm so excited that you're going to be in my class. We're going to have fun, all that things that I said. And so they love it to get a letter or something, you know, from a teacher. Now we might do email. If you have the email or contact info, they might enjoy that, you know, but what I want to do that is that I want them to know me, and also that I'm already doing a positive emotional deposit before I start withdrawing. Okay, always try to look for the emotional deposit that you're going to put in, because when you start the withdrawing, it's going to be not as painful. You know, one school in Little Rock that I taught in, and that was the roughest school I have ever taught. It was like this school, the 9th grade class was so bad that they would have substitute leaving half a day, a teacher leaving in one day. They're different, like really, like nobody lasts. I lasted like 9 weeks. And so I'm like, because I really tried to, you know, things that I've learned, I really applied it. Like I talked to all the parents, 150 of them. I talked to every one of them. I introduced myself. I'm Dr. McCullough. I'm going to be teaching your grandson's science class. And I'm looking forward to working with you, because I always believe that you are my partners in education. So here's my phone number. And all of them got, if I didn't get them that way, I would text them or whatever. But anyway, they got me, they know who I am. And if you do fun things in your class, they know who you are anyway, because the kids are excited to go home and tell about what you did. You know, we did like biology. We would have instead of, you know, writing the definition, I would have them to learn it, study it, what it is, because you're going to be acting it out, you know, with your partner or your group. Then we have to guess what it is. So the other kids have to know what it is too, because you have to guess what it is. You know, what the words that they're trying to act out, you know, without saying the word, but you're going to act out like whatever it is, you know, and they put a label of what, you know, what they're supposed to be. And then they would just like do something. And then that would translate it to the words. And then we would videotape it. And then my reward to them is like, if you behave yourselves at the end of the period, I will let you see it. So I would dangle it like a carrot. I'm saying, if not, we might have to wait till next time and see how you do. And so they love to see that. So I have these videos that I would dangle. It's like, what else are we going to do? You know, so I was actually doing like literacy strategies in my science classroom. And we did labs and all this. And in the labs, we shared it. And I did literacy things, but we did our science demonstration and all this, and encouraged them to do one and show it to us. And, you know, just kind of make it hands-on. So I lasted 9 weeks. And I was waiting on my job for Department of Ed. And they were October hiring. So then I said, what am I going to do? August, October. So I did that. So they were like, this principal, superintendent were like begging me, will you please stay? You are the first teacher that I've ever like controlled this class. I don't know what you did, but they really seem happy with you. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is in my professional bucket list in order to work for the state. In order to be a trainer in the state level, that's in my bucket list. I'm about to retire. And that's the only list I have not checked off. So anyway, but I already accepted the job. And the students' letters were so sweet. You know, I saved them. And one of them was like, you can tell that I'm old, because one of them said, oh, Dr. McCullough, you are so dope. And I thought that was bad, because I thought dope is like a drug and drug is bad. Dope is good. And I said, oh, good, it's good, really? But because my association of it is dope is bad. But anyway, so you learn some things from your students. You know, we are not just the one teaching, we're actually learning from them every single day. You know, I think the students that I was always for the underdogs, because I was always like, when we were growing up, we were beaten up. You know how in our culture, we were like, really beat up, like really bad, like the switch, you know, the branches of the tree thing. And for little bitty things, like breaking a glass, for example, as a child, you know, I was clumsy. I broke a glass, and that glass was even a Nescafe, you know, those Nescafe thing that you recycle. You know, those are like cheap, right? But my dad was so strict that I got one of my biggest beatings was because I broke the silly glass. And so then it taught me that as a mother, I'm not going to be, that's just a thing. I always tell my kids, that's just a thing. Feelings are more important. You know, my son can always say, yeah, I know, Mom, feelings are more important. That's just a thing. I don't care if it's a car. I don't care if it's a house. That's just a thing. Okay. Feelings are more important. People are more important. And if we have that, we're not going to be as strict to our students. You know, this is not what matters. Like 5 years, 10 years from now, what the heck is that glass? You know, you're not going to worry about that glass. You know, and here I am being able to buy this fancier glass. And I think of the Nescafe glass that I broke, that I got the biggest beatings in my life. You know, so those things, you are impacting that to the child. I remember this, that my dad did this. So you have to break that cycle. And in order, the research is showing that abused kids also become abuser parents, so that you don't want that. You know, as teachers, we learn better, we know better, and so we do better, right? But some parents do not get to have that luck to be, or blessing to be able to know better. So they will just continue that cycle of like, I was abused, so I'm going to abuse my kids. You know, and so here in America, we are a mandatory reporter. Does anybody know what a mandatory reporter is? Anybody? We might have that do we have that in the Philippines? Okay, mandatory reporter means that if you see somebody, or if you feel like somebody may be abused, you know, in any form, physical, emotional, whatever, you have, as a teacher, you have to report it, or you would lose your license, because you're a mandatory reporter. So it could be as simple as just telling the counselor or the principal, or there is a hotline that you can call, and you don't have to say your name. But if it becomes an investigation, for example, I think an example with that was one school where there was a child that said she was, raped or something happened like that, incest, and she reported it. I mean, she was telling a teacher that, and the teacher did not say anything. The teacher lost her job, lost her license. So you don't want that. You want, if you hear something that really bothers you because you're thinking, oh, this child might be abused, or the child might be, something's going on, you have to talk to the counselor first. And if the counselor doesn't do anything about it, you need to go higher than that. Okay, there's always a protocol, but that hotline in America, there's always a hotline. Call that if you feel like something has to happen now. I had a student that told me when she was in high school already that, oh, I was abused when I was in your classroom. I was abused by my mom's boyfriends, all of them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why did you not tell me? I was like, my heart broke, because if I knew, I would have been able to help you. Years of it was going on because she did not tell anybody. And by the time she was 16 or 17, she told somebody. And she was taken away from home, where she was already big enough to really choose. Her mother left the state. And so she pretty much kind of raised herself. But look at all these things that happened to her. Because as a teacher, I was always wondering, I'm like, what's going on? Why is she wanting? Why was she sleepy all the time? This child is like, this child is not working, is not doing. Why is this child sleepy all the time? Always want to sleep in class. And this child is smart. She's not like, she used to be like showing more interest. And then she explained to me later that she said, well, because I would not be able to sleep, because, the boyfriend's coming in or whatever. And I'm like, oh my. And it happened to all her siblings as well. In fact, that's how she was like not telling, because she said, if you tell, then I'm going to do something with your siblings and your mom too. We're going to hurt the whole family. And so anyway, so things like that you have to observe, because as a teacher, we're really not just as a teacher. Sometimes we feel like counselor, right? We're like psychologists as well. But in America, they have so much laws like that. So you need to make sure that you know that we are mandatory reporters. Even though I'm retired now, I still have a teaching license. I have my lifetime teaching license. If I saw something, if I hear something, I still have to say. I still have my license. So I still have to tell and say something about that, because you don't want a child to just be abused. Okay, so I went on another topic, that's normal. But anyway, so what other things do we have do we have something in the Philippines that's kind of similar to that? That you have to like tell, or in other countries? Dr. Elvin, do you have something like that there in the Philippines that you have to tell?
I remember the Bantay Bata with ABS-CBN, and but today we do not have it.
You don't have it.
We only have complaint hotline 888. That's for government offices. If you have complaints against any government officials, you can send a message directly, and your identity will be kept anonymous.
Right. But
yes, but with regards to that mandatory
reporting,
report, no, we don't have that in.
That might be something that we need to do in the Philippines. Really, if I were still there, I would pretty political.
Yes, yes.
I would actually push for that, because that is to me something kids
something that is
I would,
under that should be under the Department of Education as a mandatory instruction to all teachers.
Yep, and administrators.
It be private or public.
Yep. So if you want to be proactive, like when I did my national board certification, one of the things that they were wanting us to do is make sure that you're active in education, not just in your school, but beyond, your school, beyond the school participation, including in the government policies and all that. So if you're going to be doing the national level or the federal level part of it, then you need to be active in some policies that you want to enforce. Which means in America, we actually write to our senators and congressmen and so on. And we have, you can have your students in the social studies class, for example, write about some policies that you think need to change, and then make that as an instruction. You're wanting them to write with purpose, authentic purpose, and you actually would mail this. You know, because I always involve the parents. Anytime I do anything like that, away, is that okay? I would send them something. Make sure it's okay, because your child's name will be in here. Is it okay? When we send a letter to the president, and then we got sent pictures of the president, they just really love that. And then I always include the parent. I told the parents and I told my principal, is that okay? We're doing this. You know, so anytime you do something here in America, make sure that you have to talk to administration. Okay. So make sure. Okay, let me finish. And this is my style for those that are new. I would have you introduce or do something and you come up with a topic and I just run with it. So actually in the classroom, you're winging it, which is not a good thing, but in here, you never know what will come up. Rose Ann Amparo, you sound so familiar to me, but have I talked to you, Rose Ann? I remembered your name, putting it in my list. She gonna show us our picture. Rose Ann, do you wanna just listen? And that's one thing I do. I never force my students. If they don't wanna do it, I'm saying, okay, I want you to call a friend to help you. Call a friend to see if they would wanna volunteer. Because you don't ever want to have that forcing thing where you like, you know, you like somebody died and made your boss thing, you know, like, okay, oh, you don't feel like sharing today. I want you to find a friend that would be willing to share for you, you know, not your stuff, but their stuff, you know. And so anyway, but do that. Don't ever force your students, because there's always that fight and flight. They're either going to leave or they're going to fight, and they're going to choose to fight and show off to their peers that I can beat this teacher. And you don't win ever on that. Okay, so because it shows disrespect to them, and they're gonna disrespect you right back. And so anyway, so my students know that and my teachers know, and I was an administrator, that I respect you. I really respect you, and I don't demand that respect. I earn that respect because I've shown you that I respect you. And that's what, you know, you if you do that in your classroom, then you're gonna have a very positive learning community, and you build that every day. And I think I shared this with you before, that in the morning meeting, I have this big carpet, and the president of the class that they have voted is the leader, is the one sharing about their local news, national news, international news. And the local news is the most interesting because they talk about their family. And we had a Vegas rule. I don't tell them Vegas rule, but it's like a Miss McCullough's classroom rule that whatever is shared here needs to stay here. It doesn't need to go around in the playground and you're telling about, oh, so-and-so did this. No, because that is really a breach of the family, you know, policy that we have here. So they would share about, oh, last night, you know, my dad, you know, got arrested, or my mom, or when my grandma died. And of course, when somebody does that, then we will make a card and we will sign everything, sign it. But they get to share about themselves. That's the local news about themselves, the personal news. And then if there's something in the community that's going on, they also include that. And they have somebody that would say, oh, the national news, this is what's going on. And then the international news, which makes my students be so informed, because used to they hate reading the newspaper. But in my class, they have to know what's going on because they may be called to call for the international news. You never know who's going to be called for that. Okay. All right. So Rose Ann, did you want to share about you? Tell us about you.
Hi, Doc. Good morning. And good evening, everyone. I'm very sorry, Doc. I was not able to respond right away because of the bad signal here in our place. That's one of the problems that I encounter actually.
Are you in Manila? Are you in Manila or Cebu? Somewhere.
I'm in Negros, Doc. Negros Occidental.
Okay, Negros. Okay. Yeah, we have some Negros people here already. Christine, I think here somewhere. Yeah. Okay.
Christine is my best friend. You know, I've been. Yeah, remember.
Well, she wants you to come here. I know that.
She keep on, she keep on telling me every day, like, I think you come here now, you apply like that. But then I said,
you all will have a chance to come. She actually saw her grow the last 3-4 weeks. I've been to her classroom every week and I've really seen her grow. She's like really tough now. I don't know where she is. I always to tell her that. I always brag on them. You know, when I observe, because that's part of my my contract with the school, is really coaching, academic coaching, facilitator to the international teachers. And so I would observe them and I would tell them the strength and the things that they have, the glow and the grow. And so they're pretty open about it. Like, I'm nice about it, but you might want to do this, but I suggest, like, I would really suggest, like, you might want to try this. And then next time when I see this being tried, I'm so happy with it. I'm all my comments are being sent to the teacher, which is immediate comments, and sent to the principal and superintendent. So it's very transparent. It takes a team. There's no hiding. It's all of us trying to learn. Yeah, go ahead.
Merlina,
Yes.
Mom Leila is asking permission to leave because she will be having her interview early 5 a.m. tomorrow.
Good luck, girl. Good luck. Okay, I want you to do well on that. I want to see you here. Yeah, and some of you, thank you for telling me. Some of you are asking me like, oh, I have an interview at 10 a.m. Arkansas time. What is that in the Philippines? What you need to do is just add 1 and change the AM to PM. So we need to quit. It's 10:35 here in the morning. Should be 11:35 PM there, right? Is that right? 11:35 PM Philippines?
11:31.
Yes,
Close
yes,
enough?
yes.
So that is it. So that's what you need to do. It's just add so for you it will be -1 and then change the PM to AM. That's what you need to do, okay? Because I think it was Dr. Elpin that said he stayed up all night because he didn't know what time it would be. You don't want that, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So Roseanne, has she shared with you something she learned in America?
Yes, Doc. Actually, she said she adjusted already. No, she was at first she was really scared. She said, "Ate, I'm really scared. Kahadlok diri ana siya."
I saw that too. I saw that scared.
Yeah, Doc. I'll just code switch, Doc, when I talk so that I want to talk the words. I want to tell the words of Tintin. They said, first time, Ate, no, I called the police, she said. I don't know if that's true.
That was the fight and flight thing, because this student was just like very aggressive, even towards the principal. And I happened to be there, superintendent happened to be there, a principal happened to be there, and she felt supported. She said she was not afraid that we were all there, but the student did that in front of us. And the principal got so mad that the cop, the SRO had to be called. And also the chief of police came actually. And that was her first day. And I said, poor thing, that's your baptism by fire. So she told you about that. Okay. Yeah.
She was really scared. But then she still encourages me to go. She said, just come here. But when you apply, she said, please do apply in elementary.
That's funny. Now, but that's not quite true, because they also have problems in elementary. It's really not the age of the kids, it's how you control your class. If if you act like scared of them, they're gonna eat your lunch. You know what that means, eating your lunch? They're gonna take advantage of it. Okay, so don't act like you are just, I know what I'm doing. I am in charge of this classroom. But I will, if something happens, you'll misbehave, I'm gonna do something. I don't tell you yet what I do, but I'm gonna do something. Okay, but yeah, I think it's improving every day, every week. I brag on her. Yeah, but this is normal, you guys. It's culture shock. A lot of our international teachers cry the first day. First week is really rough because they are not used to the behavior that, in the Philippines and in other countries, they're just over here behaving themselves, not there. They like to talk when you're talking, they're loud, they come in, they're really loud. And if you have any break at all, because you do not know what's gonna happen next, oh, boom, they're over there taking over. So the trick is you need to get your rules, procedures, routines established, be firm and consistent with it. And then like Leslie, I was really impressed with her. She said, okay, table 3, you need to go first, table 2. And I'm like, yeah, good job. You don't want them to just get up. And another thing is like the bell rings, they just get up. And I said, who is the teacher, the bell or you? You need to be the teacher. Tell your students when the bell rings, I'm not ignoring the bell, but you need to wait for my instruction. Then I will dismiss you, not the bell. So you need to establish that, because high school, they'll do that. They'll just get up and leave. Nope, that's not your teacher. That's what you need to do. Okay. So that's good that she shared with you, Roseanne.
Doc, question. Can you also get mad in the US?
Oh yeah, but you can, and I'm like I do it in my face with my face. They would say, yeah, Dr. McCullough, you don't want to mess with her whenever she's got this, I would just do that in my class. I was like, I would just take a deep breath. They know when I'm taking that deep breath, you better watch it, because the next thing that comes out of my mouth is, I'm so unhappy, I'm so disappointed because I know you can do better. Okay, I've seen you better, and I'm so disappointed. You need to say, you're not disappointed of the child, you're disappointed of the action. Okay, the child, you cannot say that it's about you. You need to say about the action that you did, because I know you can do better. And that's the difference, is that you are not really, making the child like, oh, I'm so bad. It's the action that you did that I am not happy about. And this is how you can correct it. Next time, for future reference, I would just say, for future reference, this is what I want to see. And then I would actually model it. This is how I want my class, I want a class to line up. And let's practice. Let's pretend that, sit down. I want you to pretend that the bell rang. What do you do? So I expect you to be seated, because I am your teacher. I'm going to tell you when to go. Okay. And next time for future reference, I'm going to see who's going to remember this. And if they do that again, you need to, practice it again. I have some high school practice at beginning of the year. The next year, they've been in school 6 months, and they have to practice how to line up again because they forgot when they got back. I said, okay, we're going to pretend this is day one again. I know you've been in school, half a year, but this is day one again. You don't know what to do. And this is my expectation. This is how I want you to line up, because this is Ms. McCullough's class. This is not a class like a bunch of, prisoners. This is like, we are well-behaved students. But anyway, so yeah, it's very normal. And I'm talking to April, I'm talking to Mike and all the other, Dina, and all them that are coming soon. You will be shocked the first week. There's not very many that I've seen that they were not so shocked and so like, I can't believe this. One of the guys, I think you'll remember maybe, one of the teachers here that went to Florida, he called me and he said, I just start screaming. When I come home, I'm like, oh, I just scream so hard because I'm like so discouraged and so whatever. She was like so angry because this is not what he expected. And you're going to have that. And the beauty of it is that you are going to have the support. Like in Helena, you have 15 of you guys. There'll be 15 of you. And we get together. I usually get together with everyone when I come, and then we go out to eat, and I would just go visit in your house, and we would cook Filipino foods and so on, and just visit informally. And then we shared about what happened, and like, oh, in my class today, this is what happened, or some happy moments that they saw, things like that. So you have that support, the Filipino teacher support, that's why when schools would actually call me and ask that they would want to hire somebody, I encourage them to hire two. They need another person for support, because that teacher is going to be so lonely, is going to be culture shocked, and will not feel supported. At least they can still, even though they're not in my state, they can still Zoom with me or call me or text me. I don't like to be called, but text me or message me, said I really could use the help of talking to someone. I'm really stressed, and some of them even took like a mental health day. You have usually 10 to 12 sick days for the year. Take a mental health day because you really are so stressed. You cannot function well. So you just say mental health day. Some schools would not call it that. I just don't feel well. I need to take my sick leave. They might not acknowledge a mental health day. My sister's school, they have mental health day. So my sister, after testing, for example, she's so stressed. She said, I'm gonna take a mental health day. Can we go shopping? And I said, okay. So that's nice that your school acknowledges mental health day. But a lot of the schools, you just say, I just don't feel well. So I'm gonna call it, I'm gonna be gone tomorrow, whatever. And when you come here too, you will be needing to do your social security card, because that's your key to everything. So I, usually take you, or one of your school people would take you, get your social security card is number one. That way, when it's processed within 5 to 10 days, then that's your key to getting your phone, to getting your state issued ID, to get your bank account ready for your deposit, for your pay. So that's the key to everything, is the social security. And just remember, that you have to do your CV, SEVIS, done before you even come, because you'll have problems if you don't. And then your visa sponsor for the J1 visa, your visa sponsor has to activate you, whatever that means to them, like to put you in the system, to tell American government that you are here. Without them doing that, they don't even acknowledge, I mean, it will delay your submission or your application of your Social Security. That happens to Jing. She was told to wait 24 hours after activation because it takes that system to do that. But she was already there with me with another teacher, so she went ahead and applied, ignoring the instruction of the visa sponsor. She just got her. It's been a month. She just got her SSN just in time. They got paid this week. So she was not going to get paid without her Social Security. And so she was so happy. I have to, like, you know, luckily I got to know the head of the Social Security department here. So I was texting him, hey, Mr. Wilbur, you know, can you please check on this application? They found out that 3 or 4 of them, they had an employee there who's not very good at looking at spellings. They misspelled the name. One of the application even have Manila as a name instead of like that's put Manila there. And then some of them misspelled, like instead of Camille, you know, with an E, put an A, Camellia, you know, things like that. And I'm like, we need to be better at looking at details, because one mistake will, you know, she has, like, they issued her like 2 Social Security number, one with the E, one with the A, and they'll have to fix that somewhere. But she just needs to use the right one. And it's a mess. But anyway, so those are the things that you're going to do at the first week. So thank you for reminding that, because that is a very, very frustrating day. I think there was 1 or 2 that did not cry, but the rest of them cried. I mean, I don't embarrass everybody, but that is very normal reaction. You're human, okay? And you're shocked. So do not be thinking that, oh, it's going to be a honeymoon stage of first week. Nope. You know, some of them will just like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna eat your lunch because you're Filipino. I'm gonna try to get to test on what boundaries you're gonna let me pass through. Okay, so you need to get that boundary there where you want it. Do not just let them abuse you the first week because you're nice. No, don't do that. Okay. So anyhow, because see, I've been in a classroom where they would be so loud, and they introduced me as, that's my mentor, Dr. McCullough. So I'm in the back. And I would just stand up and say, excuse me, you know, I get to attention. Excuse me, you are in there quiet. And I said, you're very rude to your teacher right now. That is very disrespectful. And I know your principal would expect you to do more. I know your superintendent will expect you to do more, better than that, because I'm doing a report right now. And you know what? That's not looking good right now. You know, and all this. So I would actually talk to I'm always asking permission to the teacher. Is it okay if I talk to your class? Sometimes I'd say that in our language. And so anyway, like, let me talk to them. And so I would talk to them. And of course, after you're listening and quiet, and then after the teacher start, and they're out there again. So sometimes I would actually go and forward and go and walk towards the teacher without the students knowing I speak in our language, and say, you might want to do this quickly. You know, I would actually on the spot kind of help the teacher to correct on how to do this, especially if there's one kid that took over and just kind of really made everybody talk because this kid talked. I said, I want you to move this kid in the front. You know, they hate being in the front. So high school, they hate being in the front. So you that's one of the punishment you can do for the high school kids. You want them to, you are in the back, they like to sit in the back with their friends. Move him in the front. You know, can I earn? What can I do to earn to go back to my friends? You know, he would say, let me make a deal with you. Can I do this so I can go back to my friends? And I'm like, so I said, don't do it. Don't do it. You know, so I would like, you know, coach right there, but they don't know what I'm saying. As far as they know, the teacher just made the decision. But right now they're just like looking at me like, help. You know, so I would, you know, I did the same thing with Maria. I would like, don't let the kid get away with that, you know. And so I would say that in our language, they don't know. But anyway, so that kind of support for each other, because some of us are going to be stronger in discipline than others. And I can always tell, because I observe everybody, I can always tell who they are. You know, Dr. Pineda, Edison. I was impressed with him. I was like, oh my goodness, he's got to control the class on day 1. So I was bragging on him. But there's still going to be someone that would test you. Of course, it's science. And science to me is it's like they behave themselves in science for some reason. They're in a science lab and they have these tables here, and they seem to like just behave better than like a seat, like a row. And I even have actually suggested, like, why won't you change your arrangement instead of having just the row? Have them to do like a U, like a C, and a C in the other side, and then U in the middle like this. So that way it's conducive to learning. And that made a difference. Just to change the seating arrangement. You can still have that COVID distance, but it's making a C and then a double C and then a middle and then another double C there in the end. And then there you can, you know, when you do a presentation or whatever, they go right there in the front and everybody can see. So then you as a teacher can have this big old space in the middle that you can go back and forth and checking on kids, you know, or monitoring. Anyway, it could be as simple as that on the first day, first week. All right, so who else did I not miss? Because we're gonna end and try to wrap up because it's already, I just got my premium plan. So look at that. We didn't have to do video 1, video 2, huh? I am so happy that I finally was able to get one. I have to use a different username, a different email because I could not use the other email. But anyway, so I'm just glad it's much smoother. Hi, Dr. Edelman, right?
Doc, I have a question.
Yes.
You know, I have been applying for a teaching job in the different county or states. Only in Arkansas, I have not received scheduled for interview. I don't know what exactly they would like to see in my resume or what exactly they would like to something, because I have sent hundreds of applications all through the country. Only Arkansas have not sent me a reply or a message that I have a schedule for interview.
These are some of my hypotheses, okay? If you put down there you're a doctor, some administrators are gonna think, oh, expensive. I have to pay this person like two teachers.
Yes.
Yep, you are looking expensive if you put the doctor somewhere. You know, I would kind of minimize that a little so that way you can see and then they can find out. Sonia was like, nah.
I even removed my being a school principal there. That is why I received already a lot of email before I place it, the different schools that I handled as school principal. Now I only place it secondary school teacher.
Yes.
Sort of that.
Yes. A good lesson from that is that whatever you're applying, your cover letter and your resume should match that. If you're applying for a teacher, then you should have teacher information there. Okay. If you're asking, if you're doing science, your information there should be about science things. Okay. Because only the facts. But another hypothesis I have is that
But I tried already removing that doctorate degree.
Right.
But,
I mean, I
don't know exactly what Arkansas would like to.
They're just cheap, some of them. Anyway, and see, that's the thing, the focus. Like in Little Rock, they have more money. They would want that doctorate, put that doctorate in a big city. But in a smaller town that have really small budget, they're like, oh no, that's like expensive, you know? And so that's why if I ever apply back in schools, I will be too expensive for them. I cannot be a teacher. I will have to be an administrator because administrators are paid double the teacher or more. And so I have, because of you have your doctorate and I have 30 plus years of experience, I'll be in the maximum part of them. Like in Little Rock, I'd make close to 100,000 as a teacher. So yeah. And so as administrator, I'll make close to 200,000. So it's pretty big. But anyhow, so, and that's so what would that be, like 10 million a year? So that's pretty good. Anyway, so that's my hypothesis sometimes too, is that they get intimidated. Like they do not have their, you know, a lot of them would have their master's or degree plus 18 hours in order to get their certification as principal. And some of them stopped there. A lot of them went to their specialists. I teach specialists. So I have taught a lot of our principals in the state. But anyway, so they are intimidated, like, oh, I'm only specialist and this person has doctorate. And they are always acting like you are after their job. You know, I have some administrators I'm dealing with that, like, I want to make sure they know I do not want a job in your school. You know, I'm a consultant at your school, but I do not ever, I've been offered jobs in many schools. I don't want to. I'm retired. I only want to leave my husband a couple of days. That's all. I do not want to be full-time anymore. I already got my pension. I get it every month, but this is like a sideline thing for me, a side hustle for me, but I'm really passionate about it. And that's why I want to do it, but don't give me a job. And I don't want anybody to ever think that I'm taking their job, because maybe they think, oh, she can do my job, because she has all these experiences. But usually and that's a very sensitive topic. So when I go to a school, I always make sure that I contact the principal. I'm going to be in your building. Do you want to talk to me or whatever? I'm going to be, with your international teachers. But if you want to talk to me before or after, I'll be glad to. And a lot of times, of course, they will get the email, the CC of the email that I send the feedback. So they will see what I told the teachers, and the superintendent sees. And so there's the transparency, but Elvin, that is something that's not you, it's them. Okay, it's either they're looking at the budget or they're looking at you have more education than them. One of my former bosses actually told me that. Merlina, do you know that you have more education than me, your boss? And I said, well, this is how I look at this. If you must have really motivated me and encouraged me to go above and beyond. So I would look at it as a feather in your hat that one of your teachers went above and beyond, and you must have been my inspiration. That's how I would look at it. I never thought of it that way. And I said, that's how I would look at it. And so because then he changes, you change the mindset, I guess, from a negative filter to a positive, that look at it in a positive way. And this looks good for our school, that you have your teachers, going above and beyond. But some schools do not do that. Some your fixed mindset administrators are not going to look at it that way. So they're going to be more of a jealous type. So yeah. All right. So who are Dina? Dina's here. Dina's going to be coming to Arkansas in April. Coming to Arkansas with Mike. Who are we missing, Mike? Who's the fourth person?
Ma'am Johnson po.
Johnson is
Doc
not here.
Johnson.
Spanish?
Yes.
I forgot about Johnson having her doctorate. So Doc Johnson. And here in America, I'm in servant leadership. So I usually say just Merlina, because our teachers do not want to say that. They say Doc Merlina, or they would say Mom Merlina, Miss Merlina, whatever. And so Dr. Pineda, so we call him Dr. Pineda. That's, we earned that. We really earned that. We it's not just, they just do not give the doctorate away, huh? It's a hard work, but it's a choice. It's a personal choice. To me, being a servant leader, I feel like people are not going to be intimidated if they just call me Merlina. But that is a personal thing for me. Okay, in the Philippines, it's a totally different thinking. And here in America, especially in the program where I'm in, it's really about the leadership of Jesus. It's not Dr. Jesus. So it's not, so anyway, so that's kind of what we were kind of trained in. So that's how I believe that way. But I also believe in respecting the degree that you have earned. And that's why, you're free to, if that is your choice, that should be what we do. In the Philippines, that's always our choice. So anyway, so just know that I do respect you, even if I call you your first name. But anyway, all right. So who is that, Marissa? I've talked to everybody, right? Dina, do you have any comment? I know we're working on your step 1 and step 1.5 now. You're getting all those requirements. That's for your immigration already, for your I-129. So what I was doing was helping Ms. Mills get the list so that you can be working on it. So when it's ready to be uploaded, that we have it. So are you working on it?
Yes. Good evening, Doc. Good morning, Doc, and good evening, everyone. Yes, Doc. We submitted the one that she requested for us to send. And actually, Doc, I'm late in this Zoom meeting, so I'm just listening, Doc.
No problem.
Sorry for being late.
No, no problem. I set it up where anybody can come in anytime. Of course, you got live, and it's a weekend. So sorry, but anyway. So April, do you have any comments? You already have your requirements too, to Ms. Mills.
Hello. Good morning, Dr. Marniki. Good morning, everyone.
I can't wait to see you.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
can.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, actually, there are just some few requirements that we are working right now, Doc, but we are totally ready for the next step.
Okay, because they're doing the
so
premium
much.
processing. They're paying the $2,500. I've convinced them.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a good news, Doc.
Yeah, he said, Dr. McCullough, what do we do? We'll just do what you say. And I'm like, well, what I say is that we pay the premium processing because they were going to hire a third party agency, and the third party agency was going to charge $6,000 for each of you. So 24,000. And I said, you can save that by paying the premium, and then I'll just come and help Miss Mills. So I said, I might need more days. So I said, so Miss Mills said, you need to add more days to help me. And I'm like, oh, it don't matter. I will help. But anyway, so
Yes,
yeah,
Doc.
I'm excited.
And
Yeah.
Doc, for your information also, just to inform you, Miss Mills changed the commencement date.
Yes.
Yes.
It has to be
from,
after October 1.
Yeah, October. It's now October 3 before it's
Yes.
August 15.
It's a requirement because if not for that, you will not be allowed for this coming school year. It's a requirement. It has to be after October 1 or they would
Maybe,
invalidate.
Doc, there's a chance that before October 3 or after October
I don't
3.
have any idea. I just know that for premium processing, they have 2 weeks to let us know. So once we get all these things together, then we upload it, and the immigration have 2 weeks to tell us if you approve or not. And so I was happy to see that all of you got your master's degree. So that's going to be equivalent to a master's degree here. What did they say? Every 3 years of experience is equal to something. I forgot. Anyway, so I
Actually,
just
Doc,
know that.
Miss Mills sent at least, I think, a chart of the salary table, I think.
Okay, that salary schedule. Yeah, that is that is one of the labor, the organization, DOL, Department of Labor, LCA, that we are processing to prove that we are not paying the international teachers lesser than what we're paying everybody else. That they have to prove that you were taking care of you, that you're not getting paid less. And so that's why
Yes.
Department of Labor, the DOL, makes sure that in order for us to approve your LCA, that means that you prove to us that they are paid and have the same benefits as the locals.
Yes,
And
Doc.
so
And
that's
I
why,
think it depends upon the number of years in teaching or experience, and also your degree.
that's right. So that's with all the schools in the US. You always have the salary schedule, which has this years of experience, and then they would have the degree, bachelor, master. Sometimes they would say master plus 15, and then specialist plus 15. 15 is like half.
Yes, we
30
saw that.
hours, and then doctorate, and then a doctorate and beyond. So you'll be like, if you have your doctorate, you'll be in the very end, and then the number of years of experience. And some schools would actually honor, like for example, they would honor all of the years. I think Helena does it, but some schools would only say we'll only take like 10 of another schools, depending on what their deal is. The deal with Arkansas right now, that's why I want you to be here already, is that they're giving out $5,000 for teachers. And so Helena was already told by the superintendent that they will be giving it out, because see, that's something that was more of suggested, and then it's up to the superintendent to see if their budget is allowing it. But the thing with the new superintendent is he announced it to everybody, but we're going to give you the $5,000. And I know that the Brinkley, Christine and Leslie and Maria and Shireen, the 4 teachers there, their superintendent also said, we are giving you the 5,000. But the other schools have not said. So they could be giving them half, if that's all the budget will you're talking times how many teachers. And so sometimes their budget might not allow it. So they might just say, well, we can only give you 1,000. But wait a minute, that's just extra money. That's just something bonus that they give you. Okay, because what they're saying is that teachers are so underpaid. And that's why in order to help with keeping the teachers for retention, that we need to give them extra money. So they'll stay in Arkansas to have retention money. So anyway, so that's what's going on right now. You're gonna get the extra 5,000. Woohoo! So get here.
That's the MacBook.
Yay, we're
That's the
excited.
MacBook.
Huh? Yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
the MacBook.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You also get a MacBook. Yeah. Your MacBook, each one of you will have a brand new MacBook that you get to work with, do your lesson plan in, and so on. So most schools actually would provide teachers their own laptop. I don't know. I don't know. I think when I was working at the Department of Education, we were given this big laptop thing and then this 2 huge screen, working. We didn't get to keep that. We had to leave that there. So when I retired, I had to buy my own because I was so used to the Mac already that I'm like, I can't do the the other kind now. I really like my Mac better. So yeah. So, but you get it while you're here. Okay. So the J1 visa is you have 3 years and then you're supposed to go back for 2 years. But if you do your extension and then your visa waiver pay 160, then you can do another 3 years. Wait a minute, another 2 years because it's 5 years for J1. And then for your H1B, you can you don't have the 2-year physical presence requirement. So you do your 3 years. After that, you can do another 3 years. And I think while the school wants you, I think because after 6 years on H1B, you'll be a green card holder. So the school, the school will have to just, so you'll be a green card holder and you can do a different visa, which is a permanent visa. That's why H1B is a really better route, and not very many schools are actually doing it. It's a big pain. I mean, Miss Mills and I are like the blind leading the blind. I have to read up things. I have to like look at YouTube and I have to send her some links. Okay, let's look at this together. And so it's like, I'm telling you, because the lawyer was going to charge, with the agency another $2,000. And so I'm like, we can read these things, So anyhow, I'm hoping that we're not messing up. But anyhow, okay, let me see. I've got April, Ria, and Josephine. Oh, Josephine, you are famous now to this group. You're the ones that have the video that I've shared to everybody about their practice interview. So if you don't have a Josephine video, you need to email me or email Mike, whatever. And then we will give you the video that we practiced. Maria and I practiced with her. She did such a good job answering it that I said, can I share this with the rest of the members, because you did such an amazing job of answering. She was offered a job in that school, and you refused. Is that right?
Yes, Doc. Because it was in Mississippi County. So I tried to do some research about the environment of the school. It was actually in Blytheville, right? And then I did some research. Then actually it was almost the start of the school year here in the Philippines. So I was having some hesitations whether to accept the offer or not, because we're about to start the school year already.
But no, knowing what, and I know I don't ever want to tell you what to do because that is your decision, that's your life. But knowing what I know now about J1 visa being so limited, and you still had a visa at that time, what is a good thing now maybe is you could have taken it, and then we would have insisted to like have you stay with a teacher or something, so be safe. You'll be driving with whatever. And then if that is gonna be okay, then that would be okay to take it. But then if you don't really like it, you can switch to another school. I could help you switch to another school because your same visa, there'll just be a transfer. And it's okay as long as you're a teacher still, it'll just be a transfer. You just tell your J1 J1 sponsor that I'm moving to another school. Here's my job offer, and they will just fix it. So, but at the same time, I feel like, what if you cannot find a teacher to stay with? What if you'll be stuck there? And that's why I didn't insist like we should do this, because what if it's not a very safe place? Because my husband would not let me go there. I mean, if my husband is not going to want me to stay there, then I would not want to tell you to stay there yourself. And I've been in the US 35 years, and and I don't feel right about sending you there, I guess. And I'm sure I'm being biased against that school, but I really don't know. Is the reputation is what it is on that Google. And that's why, we need to make sure you have good reputation in Google, because people judge you by that, including schools, right? But Josephine,
yes,
do you feel right about the decision, or did you feel at peace with that decision?
Yeah, yes, Doc.
Okay.
I did not have any regret about not accepting the offer. However, I'm still pursuing my application right now. And then the links that you have sent to me, or the links that you have sent to the group, I've also checked on it, and I also applied to some schools. Recently, I actually applied to the link that you've sent, it was in Houston, Texas. So I also tried
That's a good
on
spot.
that,
Yeah.
applying on that link.
Houston is a nice place and a lot of minorities there. So you're not going to stick out. There's a lot of Latinx. They call the Spanish folks, they call them Latinx because you don't know where in Latin America they belong. So you just, the politically correct thing to say is Latinx. So there's a lot of Latinx there, lots of Asian, some Blacks and some whites, but a lot of Latinx. In fact, in Texas, a bunch of my friends that are Texan, that are local in Texas, they know Spanish because they have to deal with Spanish, all the time. But anyway, but I think, Josephine, what I believe is that God has other plans for you because, we make plans, but God laughs. So that was not a plan for you if you felt right about the decision. Okay. So the way you interview, I have very high hopes that you get hired like sooner than
Thank
later.
you so much, Doc.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I will also update you about
Yes.
the progress of my application.
Yes, that would be nice because one of good thing I was friends with her on Facebook. She already arrived in California and she didn't tell me that she got the job. And I'm like, I said, where in California are you? So I had to post it on hers because she did not tell me. I have a list of where people are because I like kind of to trace of where you all are. And I don't know what district she's with or whatever. She was just saying, she's happy to be in America. And I got to happen to see that on my feed. So please tell me. That would be nice. All
Yes,
right,
Doc,
Ria.
I will.
Yeah, Ria or Larty. Do you want to talk to us? Or MCV? Who's MCV? My favorite two words are or not. So if you do that, let's wrap up, okay? Let's wrap up. Any last comment? I'm just gonna go. Any last comment that you have, any learning, one thing you learned. This is your exit slip. One thing you learn, because I'm so happy if you learn one thing that you think you can use. Okay. Or good info. Dr. Elvin, you want to start? Did you learn something new? Because you're always there. I don't know. I'm sure I'm like a broken record. I repeat things.
The mandatory report.
Yeah, reporter. That's good
Yeah,
knowledge.
reporter, because that's very essential for the teacher to do that responsibility to protect the child whenever there is an abuse.
Yep. Yep, that's a good thing to know for sure, to keep your license. Yeah.
To keep our license.
Yeah. All right, Maria Teresa, what do you say? Anything you gain? One thing?
Okay, the one that you said, because I'm so particular with the classroom management and I'd like to pick up some little things. One thing that I'm thinking of doing is like a simple thing that you said, but it means a lot to me. Like, oh, that's not the way that I wanted you to line up. Oh, okay, we will have to go outside and do it.
Practice.
That's really nice.
Yeah, you have to do that. You always have to practice until they master it. Anything new that you teach them. Okay, let's practice that. Take one, take two, passing the papers, all that. Yeah, practice it. Because then once they get that, when you get your observation, it looks so cool that you have these kids, have these procedures and protocols that you have in your classroom. So it looks like you really know what you're doing. Good learning there. Okay, how about Lorena? Lorena, you have anything to share?
Yes, Doc, and thank you very much because I got so enlightened with all your advices earlier, as well as those that I heard from the other teachers who shared their thoughts and the way you have to develop or shall I say enhance positive learning environment, which I firmly believe I would like to emphasize on that. Since we're teachers, I know that we are also the second parents of the kids, the children. That's the reason why we really have to look forward into building that positivity, the positive learning environment. And as a math teacher, I like the way you have said that the error analysis since I am a Montessori teacher, we consider error as a friend. So I could possibly apply that to my fourth graders this year for them to at least analyze their error or pinpoint their error, something to that effect, when it comes to, let's say, enhancing their math skills, like that. And you're muted, Doc.
Go ahead, continue.
All right. One thing is that the praxis exam, maybe after you have mentioned that, I felt like this is the reason why maybe I'm not getting hired, because my degree is in secondary education, and yet my experience is in elementary. So
Yeah.
it does not coincide, it's not aligned.
Yes.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, you might want to find out if there is a praxis that you can take, and if you're allowed to take the elementary one. If you're allowed, like maybe do the elementary math, see if they would let you do that, then that would be something you can use the next time you update your resume and your cover letter. Okay, very good. Thank you
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and for your math, math and science and social studies, I know we are really focused on the meat part of the writing. So once you have established that they know how to do your complete sentences, end mark, and beginning, you might want to teach them how to bullet, to bullet the information. Because that way, but they, as long as they know that, complete sentence good, but then sometimes bulleting is, getting the meat out there. So yeah, that's a good thing to teach too. Okay, Giselle, do you have something you want to share? Because I'm not forcing anybody, remember? I'm like, it's a volunteer, not a voluntold.
Yes, Doc.
Yes.
Actually, before the just yesterday, I have read the one that you posted about the early finish activities.
About the what?
The early finish activities.
Oh yes, early finisher. Yes.
Yeah, I read it. I honestly I wrote it in my notebook. I brought reading in the notebook, and like I said last time, so that I could be I could be I could read it, and so it can it can stay in my memory.
Yeah, are you planning to use one? Which one are you planning to use?
I'm planning to use some of this, not only for as for the early finisher, but I think I can use this for some of activities in my lessons.
Yep.
I think this is very good, though some of this may not be applicable to us here in the Philippines because
right.
we don't have much.
Yeah, use the one that is applicable. Yeah. Good point there. Thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad that you're using the website too.
Yes, Doc. Honestly, what's that? I printed some of the some of those you have pointed it there, and I have read some of those. I have also gone through the 504 plan and IEP. Yes, then 9 ways to build strong home relationships, homeschool relationships. Yes, and some other. I really love to read this, Doc, because this will be very helpful in my classroom as well.
Yep.
This coming September 23, I'll be going back to work since I'm on a maternity leave.
Okay.
Well,
good luck
like
on
to
that.
prepare myself.
Oh, that's gonna be hard for you. That was the hardest for me when I had to go back to work, and after I took care of my kids, and I'm like, oh, do I have to go back? And my school at that time was just across the road from me, so I'm like, I have to go back. I really don't want to go back, but I miss my students. Being gone so many weeks. Yeah. How many weeks is the allowed maternity leave in the Philippines?
Here in the Philippines, Doc, we have already
104 days.
100 days, so 3 months.
104 days.
Yeah.
104 days. That's 104 teaching days, not just the days. That's a lot. That's 5 months. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Wow. That is good, because here I remembered only taking off like 2 months. So that's only 40 days. Yeah. So that's really good. I think they may have increased that now. And I think in America, they've also included a father. So if your wife had a child, you can also take off. So that's pretty good. Family leave. Okay, Mike, did you pick up anything? I know you're always here. You're perfect attendance like some of you. And so what did you pick up, or you pick up anything new?
based on what I heard, Doc, always keep waiting, keep your patience in all your application, and just to remind everyone that this is not just a group or a meeting for us to prepare our result for the invitation for our application. This is also a source of information that we can use in our field, and we can also apply this in wherever we are.
Yep, that's good job, Mike, because that's really my purpose. That's why you see me posting all kinds of subject areas, all kinds of levels, because I want someone to see something that they can use in their field and their level. Good point. And don't forget the reminder of Mike that, if you're not part of our messenger group, you may want to, because there's a lot of information there. If you scroll up in there, there's a lot of links to different applications that I've sent that some people have actually gotten interviews from. So yeah.
Yes, Doc.
Dr.
And
Khan, yeah,
also keep on bumping the message, the link of our group chat and the FB group, and also our newly built website, and wherein they can send their application there. If they don't know your email address, the link is there, the email address is there. You can send your cover letter and resume there. Just share that to your friends or your co-teachers. And I know Doc Merlina, you will receive that directly, right?
Yes. Yes, I will. Thank you. Yeah, I add it when I see one, I add it to my list immediately, and this list goes to the administrators. So every time that I would add to it, they see it. So it's always, that's the beauty of Google. I love Google. Okay, Dr. Sonia, what is there something that you picked up a little?
Yes, it's about your students sharing local news about their personal stories inside the classroom. And you have this kind of rule that what's in the classroom will always stay in the classroom.
Yep, that's a trusting, yeah. And you never force them, because some students are more nervous. So if they don't want to do that personal, you can just say, how about local news, Salem news? How about Arkansas news? So I would have an option like that. Choices are always good for students. So yeah, good point. All right, how about Rose Ann Omison? Rose Ann, did you pick up anything?
Hi, Doc.
Hello.
I actually learned about your treasure box. I love it. I actually thinking now of what kind of treasure I need to prepare.
You have to know your kids. What do your kids like? If they need pencils or they need, stickers, or, find out what they like. That's what I always did. Every year, kids, as simple as those little plastic bugs. One year, my kids were so into science, and they have these plastic bugs. There's a million of them in a bag, and I just dump it in there. And they were like spiders and, little bugs like that. And they would get that when they reach their line of the sticker. Yeah, good luck on that. You don't have to spend money either. Okay, you can just say free homework or free whatever it is that you want to give free. Okay, so free do now, free one do now, something like that. You don't need, they can skip something, and instead they can do something fun. Like I always have a classroom library, so they can go to the classroom library and read a book. They love picture books, even the high school, because it's really quick. And I actually read, when I was teaching elementary, I actually read every day a picture book that's relating to our theme. So my librarian had gotten a whole cart full of books for me. So when they come in after lunch, ready for the afternoon, I always started with a picture book. So I read them a picture book that relates to the topic. It's always good to relate it, not just like out of the blue something else. It has to relate to your theme or to your lesson. Sometimes it could be an introduction to a lesson you're about to do. So picture books are important. Okay, Giselle, or let me see, we'd finish Giselle. How about Miss October? You have something you want to share? You are muted. You are muted. Okay, go ahead.
My attention captures those phrases about the special students, the differentiations that you gotta prepare inside the class. It's not correct. You have to prepare your materials and your instructions and your lessons itself, not for those fast learners. There always be a differentiation. So this including the special kids,
right?
And with abiding the abiding the law, which is 504. That would be a lot of help.
504 plan, yes.
And as an applicant, we need to be informed with that, so that
Yep.
probably they might ask for that. So at least we're prepared.
Yeah. I think I put something on the website.
Yeah, you did.
504. So the Commissioner Key, I think, was glad that I put some Arkansas specific information there. I put it on the key in the featured on the very top. Anything that's really important that's really important for your application, visa processing, or how to do your introduction interview. I put them in the featured part on the very top of the website. You don't have to scroll all the way back. It's featured on top, so you just have to go across. Okay. All right. Good point. All right, Marissa, San Diego.
Yes, Doc. Well, like Miss Lorwena, I also was enlightened on some points of what to strengthen and what to highlight. Like what you said, it would confuse them if I will tell them that I teach elementary. So rather than saying that, maybe I would go for flexibility and ability to handle diverse learners. And for the acquiring the New Mexico license, maybe I would highlight the experience and credentials that I have, so I was able to have that then, and showcase to them that I could also attain the license in Arkansas if ever. And then I also love, in terms of the other things that you shared, in the treasure box, maybe the earning of the sit with a friend, because
Ooh.
we teachers would always want them to separate, right? The sitting with a friend, because they would only talk, they would not focus. But rather than just saying no, but letting them earn this opportunity to sit with a friend is a reverse psychology, I would say, but it would really encourage them and would want they would want to do whatever you want, whatever you ask them, just to be with their friends.
Yeah, it's motivational for sure, but put a limit on it. Like they can do it for 2 days, they can do it for 3 days or a whole week. So that could be something graduated that you can do. You know, the next time you might be able to do so many days or whatever, but do not just make it like the rest of the year, because you're going to be in trouble. and by the way, I love that you said, like Lorwena, because that is a conversation starter. I teach my students that you are validating somebody else that spoke that. And when you do an interview and you say something like somebody already said, like Dr. So-and-so said, you know, because that shows that you're listening. That shows that you're validating that person and you're listening and you're adding, you know, you can say something like to add to what, you know, Dr. Sonia says, and then you add to it. You are respecting the last speaker. And I always recommend that to teachers and to my students, that try to, you know, if somebody already said that, that's not really your original idea, acknowledge that person that said the idea. Sometimes I'm not good at that, but I teach that. Do what I say, not what I do. Okay, how about Dina? Dina, did you pick up anything?
Okay, Doc, one of the points that caught my attention, even though I arrived late, was like one of the punishments that you could give to high school students when they are misbehaving is to let them sit in front, because they hate that. So yeah, it's one of the techniques that we need to bear in mind when we will be put in a situation like that.
Yeah, one of the teachers, I'm not going to say who, she just put this kid without doing anything. This kid was just put in the front, and this kid was like, what did I do? So I had to explain to her that is a punishment here. This kid is confused why you're punishing her when you just met her. So anyway, and I don't remember what her reason was for moving her, but anyhow, but that's a good knowledge to gain. Thank you. April, do you say your name April or APH with Afro? How do you do that?
Yeah, April, Doc. Anything.
With an
Hello,
F.
can you hear me okay? Yeah.
Yeah, with an F, April.
Yeah,
with an F?
Doc. Yeah.
Okay, because everybody's been calling you April in the office, and I'm like, I wonder, you know, with phonics here, I wonder if it's April, but that makes it hard.
Yeah, because of the PH. I don't know with
Yes.
my mom.
Yes, you can ask. Yeah.
It's
All
kind of
right.
confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, doc, actually I'm also late because I just got ended my shift.
Yeah.
But some of my learnings are also mentioned with the other teachers. But one thing that I wanted to share tonight is that being one of the teachers who are coming to Arkansas soon. So I learned I was reminded of setting a proper expectation, especially during the first week or the first month of teaching in the US, because being a teacher in the US, it's not always about the salary, the snow experience, but of course we must put into consideration the first experience that we will be having in there. And actually, we were chatting with Mike a while ago that we are preparing ourselves to shout, to cry in front of the Mississippi River.
Somebody did that. Yeah, because you're
And
so
sabi,
close. You're 10 minutes away. Are you 5 minutes away?
yeah,
Ma'am
if
April,
we are stressed,
Ma'am
yes,
April, only
yes,
shouting but no jumping on the river.
Just don't jump.
yeah,
Don't jump because it's so deep.
yeah.
So deep.
It
Yeah.
was, I just get ready when I cried. Okay, just hold on me.
Yeah, it's and yeah, they called me, they would Zoom with me and crying and so on, and that's okay. I'm telling you, that is normal.
Yeah.
It's just that was not normal for me, because my first week of school, I was telling my husband that I can't believe they pay me to do this. I'm having so much fun with the kids, and they paid me. They will pay me to do this, and so they don't feel that way right now yet, because it's a totally different culture. It's just culture shock. I never taught in the Philippines, so I got educated here. So when I taught here, it's just like one of the locals. So I did not experience what you all did, because I didn't know any better. What my start is here. So I didn't know any better until I retired and started observing other schools, and I'm like, I did not know how lucky I was. So how blessed I was. It's like night and day. I have been in schools, all my schools were like Filipino kids acting. So this is also a learning thing for me. So when they would share me with these things, I'm like, yeah, I observed it. I know I would not have believed if I did not see it with my own eyes, that this is actually happening, that it's actually the opposite of what we expect the kids to do. Because our expectation is that the kids are just going to listen to us and not say anything unless we ask them questions. That's not the case. They're going to be very loud. And if you're not ready, they're going to know it. Let me just look at the next thing. Oh my gosh, everybody's talking and taking over. And some people would even fight and have a physical fight. One of the teachers, international teachers, had a fight, like a physical fight of two girls in her class. So yeah, it could happen. So when that happens, you need to make sure you call your next door teacher, and they will call the principal. And if a police need to be called, they will call that. Okay. So just make sure that you find a kid that's that you can ask to go next door. You also have a phone in your classroom. So you have a phone in your classroom, so they can actually, parents can call you. You can actually call yourself. So that's good that you have a phone in your classroom. And they don't want you to, of course, use your phone in front of the students, your own phone. But like one day I was like observing, and I was making notes on my phone. I was making notes, right? Because my laptop was in the car. And I said, oh, you're making the rules, Dr. McCullough. And I said, wait, what do you mean? Well, you're texting. Well, the teacher, I'm like, no, look. I'm making notes of, of what your teacher is doing and what you all are doing. So anyway, but that's it. That's a rule. They want you to follow the rules too. Yeah, good one. Okay, Josephine, anything? Or Rhea? Okay,
Yes, Doc. I would just like to share about something that I've learned actually, it was my first time to know about teachers not reporting if ever there are students who are like abused at home, and they report it to you, and you as a teacher not reporting it to the authorities might lead to consequences like you being fired from your job. It's actually my first time to know about that kind of setup in the US.
Yeah.
because actually we have similar situations here, scenarios here in the Philippines, wherein some students would really report about situations like that at home. And then, however, we actually report it to authorities, but we don't have that kind of consequences, like ignoring that report from the student and you being fired from your job. So it's actually my first time to know about that. So thank you so much, Doc.
You're welcome. But that is something that the US, really takes seriously. You do not want the kids abused and then you not doing anything about it. Yep, good point there. Okay, Ria, you're the last one, I think. Yeah, or did I miss someone? Ria, if you don't mind to share with us, or Maria Teresa, I
Doc,
don't know. Yeah.
Doc, I
Yes.
think Ma'am Rhea has a problem with this speaker.
Oh, that's fine. How about anybody else? Okay, so I am just so glad that you all attended. Every time I learn from you. And so it's nice that you learn even one thing from me. That always makes me happy. So so continue to help others and tell others about the opportunities, because I'm really thinking that once I meet with Secretary Key, that my list will be just gone. That's why I want more in my list. Of course, I'm pushing the ones that are there first, but I think we can use more, especially on science, math, and special ed. Those are the three areas. We have lots of elementary. So if you have elementary or literacy, really, but the thing with literacy is that some schools that have never hired international teachers, they think that, oh, can they teach English? I mean, they're like, not native speakers. And I'm like, yes, they do, because that's a medium of instruction. I felt like I had to defend the literacy teachers because that is not our language. And so, I have to, sometimes say that, hey, they know one more language than you. But anyhow, but the elementary teachers, there are a lot of them. They call them a dime a dozen. That's a saying they say here. That means there's a lot. So you really have to stick out. When you do your interview, there might be you and 2 or 3 of your friends that are interviewed at the same time. So they have to remember you. And so in order to do that, you're going to have to show examples, specific examples of your own experiences. Do not just do a general statement. Like, I'm a lifelong learner. Well, everybody says that. Well, you need to say how. Why do you say you're a lifelong learner? Do you always continue to read? Do you read the latest professional magazines or anything like that? Okay, so be specific. Specific is terrific, is what I'm gonna finish this meeting with. Be specific. Okay. All right. See you next week, and thank you so much. I'll send you the video. Okay. Bye.
Doc.
Bye. Yes.
Thank you so much, Doc Merlina.
Can we have
and everyone.
at least a 3 minutes meeting with you, with Miss April and Miss Dina?
Yes. Everybody else, bye, except the 4 people that are coming here. Yeah.